The three sects of Yunhai would likely not directly agree to the Feng family entering the Azure Cloud realm. Therefore, a fight was still necessary, but not to the death. It was to make the three sects of Yunhai recognize the current situation. The strength of both sides was now roughly equal. If they did not want to fight to the death, the three sects of Yunhai would have no choice but to agree to the Feng family occupying a place in the Azure Cloud realm in the future. The six major factions would redivide the territory and interests of the Azure Cloud realm. Not long after, more than a dozen nascent soul cultivators from the three sects of Yunhai arrived at the front line together. At the same time, a large number of cultivators from the Taishu sect and the Zhenwu sect also arrived at the front line one after another. Opposite them, the Feng family, the Wuji sect, and the Qingming sect also appear together with more than a dozen nascent soul cultivators. On the front line, the auras of over 30 nascent soul cultivators stirred the winds and clouds, creating a heavy atmosphere. A nascent soul cultivator from the Wuji sect spoke first, his tone carrying an admonition. Fellow Taoists, why resort to such drastic measures? Instead of both sides suffering, why not turn hostility into friendship and let the Feng family join the five sects alliance to avoid armed conflict? Wouldn't that be better? A nascent soul cultivator from the Qingming sect immediately echoed. That is correct. The five major sects of the Azure Cloud realm have been of one mind for many years. Now, it is merely adding one more ally. The Grand Elder of the Cloud Sea sect had a grim expression and flatly refused. Today it is the Feng family. Tomorrow it will be the Leaf family. Once this precedent is set, it will certainly not be the last. The alliance treaty of the five sects has lasted for tens of thousands of years. If we concede now, will there still be a place for us in the Azure Cloud realm in the future? The Cloud Sea sect will never agree. The nascent soul experts of the Taishu sect and the Zhenwu sect also expressed their positions, their voices ringing out as they opposed any compromise. Seeing the determined attitude of the three sects of Yunhai, a nascent soul cultivator from the Feng family snorted coldly, his tone hardening. Since you refuse to listen to good advice, then there is nothing left to discuss. Then let us fight. The three sects of Yunhai did not back down in the slightest. The nascent soul cultivators of the Wuji sect and the Qingming sect felt a massive headache upon seeing this. They truly did not want to fight. A Grand Elder of the Wuji sect hurriedly spoke. If we start a nascent soul war, it will surely lead to devastation for all living beings. Why not? Follow the old precedent. The nascent soul cultivators will not intervene, and we will let the disciples and the Purple Mansion elders compete based on their own abilities. How about that? This proposal seemed like a step back, but in reality, it limited the conflict to those below the nascent soul realm, also to avoid the direct loss of top-tier combat power. It was extremely difficult for each of them to cultivate to the nascent soul realm, and they did not want to fight to the death with nascent soul cultivators of the same level. Therefore, if they agreed, it would actually mean shifting the conflict of this struggle to the level of the Purple Mansion and below. If a real fight broke out, each sect and the Feng family would surely lose quite a few disciples. The nascent soul cultivators of the three sects of Yunhai exchanged glances. They did not want to do this. Low-level disciples were also the foundation of the sect. Many in the three sects of Yunhai still had backbone and did not want to let the low-level disciples become cannon fodder in the struggle. Originally, the Cloud Sea sect thought it would be a crushing victory, so they sent 70% of their combat power, wanting to unite with the Taishu, Zhenwu, and Qingming to teach the Feng family and the Wuji sect a harsh lesson. But now the situation had changed, and the crushing victory had turned into a stalemate. If they followed their original plan, the five sects and the Feng family would lose countless low-level disciples. From the perspective of interests, this was a more economical way to fight. After all, as long as the nascent soul cultivators did not intervene. After the fight, no matter how many low-level cultivators died, the sect could always recruit and train more. But this was not what the Cloud Sea sect wanted. The Grand Elder of the Cloud Sea sect did not want to let the disciples under their banner become cannon fodder in this struggle. The Cloud Sea sect consulted with the other two sects via sound transmission. The Taishu sect and the Jinwu sect also rejected the Wuji sect's proposal. Regarding this matter, forgive us for not being able to agree, said a Grand Elder of the Cloud Sea sect. The Grand Elder of the Wuji sect frowned upon hearing this. Fellow Taoist, what do you want? If we all strike, the consequences will be immeasurable. We absolutely cannot let low-level cultivators become cannon fodder. I assume you also do not wish to see your own disciples suffer heavy losses, the nascent soul cultivator of the Taishu sect said, looking at the other side. Then what exactly do you fellow Taoists want? The front line fell into an eerie silence at this moment. Countless disciples below the nascent soul realm were waiting for a command to charge into the battlefield and kill the enemy. Yet those nascent soul bigwigs seemed to have chatted themselves into a corner. What are the Grand Elders talking about with the other side? Are we still fighting or not? Someone in the crowd asked curiously. Who knows? The Qiming sect has also betrayed the five-sect alliance. Maybe they're going to negotiate peace. Actually, if they can negotiate peace, that would be good. If a real fight breaks out, who knows how many disciples will die? At the front line, after the nascent soul cultivators from both sides deliberated for a while, they decided not to fight. There was no benefit for the three sects of Yunhai to win, and while there were benefits for the Feng family to win, it would certainly mean heavy losses, which was not what they wanted. So they changed the method to decide whether the Feng family could join the five sects alliance, and whether they could occupy a place in the Azure Cloud realm. Currently, the three sects of Yunhai wanted to hold a competition. The three sects of Yunhai proposed that both sides each send 3 nascent soul realm cultivators to conduct 3 rounds of competition. If the three sects of Yunhai won, then the Feng family would need to leave the Azure Cloud realm. If the three sects of Yunhai lost, they would agree to let the Feng family join the five sects alliance and allocate territory to the Feng family. It was just that the Feng family did not agree. They had been sent to the Azure Cloud realm. How could they leave the Azure Cloud realm? They might agree, but the Feng family of the upper realm would not. The two sides could only continue to negotiate. The three sects of Yunhai also knew that they could not push the Feng family too hard. If they really pushed them too hard, then when the competition ended, the Feng family might refuse to acknowledge the result, even if they lost, and a war would still erupt. So, they finally modified it slightly. If the Feng family lost, they did not have to leave the Azure Cloud realm, but they could no longer remain in the Jiuzhou continent. If they really wanted to develop, they could go to the Endless Sea. The resources of the Endless Sea were actually not bad. It was just that in the Endless Sea, although the human race occupied many islands, the sea area was wider, and the strength of the Yao race in the sea was also greater. That place was frequently invaded by the Yao race. Every few days, it was possible to encounter Yao beast invasions on the islands. Although the resources were not bad, it was far from being as safe and comfortable as the Jiuzhou continent. Compared to the Endless Sea, the Jiuzhou continent could be called a paradise. The 5 major sects and other factions were all unwilling to go to the Endless Sea. The Feng family was the same. As soon as they arrived, they headed straight for the Jiuzhou continent. Therefore, if the Feng family could agree, even if the Feng family lost in the end and remained in the Azure Cloud realm, as long as they were willing to go to the Endless Sea, then there would be no loss for the 3 sects of Yunhai. At that time, they could even let the Feng family join the 5 sects alliance, and all 5 sects would be willing to help the Feng family gain a firm foothold in the Endless Sea. If a top-tier faction could gain a firm foothold in the Endless Sea, it could suppress the Yao race of the Endless Sea, which could also be considered a good thing for them. The Feng family accepted this request. After all, win or lose, they could achieve the goal of their branch of the Feng family developing in the Azure Cloud realm. It was just that if they won, they could stay in the superior environment of the Jiuzhou continent, and if they lost, they would have to go to the harsh environment of the Endless Sea. Both sides began to deliberate once more regarding the details of the duel. Some were against nascent soul cultivators taking the field for the duel. As mentioned before, most of the nascent soul cultivators the Cloud Sea sect left in the lower realm were those whose potential had been exhausted. The same was true for other top-tier powers. For these nascent soul cultivators with exhausted potential, many actually just wanted to live stable lives in the lower realm as local overlords. They all held the mindset of not lifting a finger if they didn't have to. After all, when those of the same rank fought, if things got heated, it would inevitably lead to serious injuries. Thus, some wanted to change it to a duel for the Purple Mansion realm, or even below. In the end, both sides negotiated and changed it to a Purple Mansion duel. The 3 matches were also increased to 10. The time was set for half a year later. Both sides needed to prepare well for this duel. At the front lines, the people from the Feng family, the Wuji sect, and the Qingming sect all withdrew. After the nascent soul cultivators of the 3 sects of Yanhai returned, they also let most of the cultivators head back. Only on the Flying Sword sect side, many people were still left behind. This was to prevent the other side from suddenly changing their minds and attacking the Flying Sword sect. Soon, news of the duel reached the ears of the low-level cultivators of each sect. The nascent soul cultivators of the Taishu sect and the Jinwu sect both took their disciples back to their sects, preparing to select candidates for the duel. The 3 sects also had a simple discussion. Each of the 3 sects would first internally select their 10 strongest Purple Mansion cultivator. Then, the 30 Purple Mansion cultivator from the 3 sects would compete against each other to select the 10 strongest Purple Mansion cultivator to represent the 3 sects in the duel. News from the front lines soon reached the Cloud Sea sect as well. The elders and disciples within the sect, who were all originally preparing for war, were stunned. Not long ago, it looked like a major war was about to break out. Yet how much time had passed before they weren't fighting anymore? Well, this was also normal. The more top-tier a power was, the harder it actually was for large-scale battles to occur, especially when both sides' strengths were similar and equal. The elders and disciples within the Cloud Sea sect also stopped their alchemy and other preparations one after another. The sect didn't let them lose out either. For the things they had refined and prepared during this period, they were still rewarded with contribution points. Soon, among the 6 Grand Elders of the Cloud Sea sect at the front lines, 1 Grand Elder returned with most of the disciples. Among the returning disciples, there were many senior elders among the Purple Mansion elders. They returned to prepare for the selection, wishing to contribute to the sect by participating in the duel. The Grand Elder who brought them back was a Grand Elder from the Shunshao lineage. Among the 9 lineages of Yanhai, Shunshao was considered the main lineage, and its Grand Elder was the current spokesperson for the Cloud Sea sect. He returned this time specifically for the selection process. Cloud Sea Peak, Sect Plaza. After the Grand Elder of Shunshao Peak returned, he gathered all the Purple Mansion cultivator currently in the sect along with the other 3 Grand Elders who had stayed behind. On the plaza, over 400 Purple Mansion cultivator gathered. Several hundred more had not yet returned and remained at the front lines. Those who hadn't returned were mostly those whose strength wasn't particularly great. At this moment, most of the Purple Mansion cultivator on the plaza were in the Purple Mansion late stage or Purple Mansion perfection. There were also a few early stage and middle stage cultivators, all of whom had been kept in the sect from the beginning. However, one should not look down on these early and middle stage Purple Mansion cultivator. Most of them were kept because they possessed spirit bodies and had excellent talent, having only recently broken through to the Purple Mansion, which was why they weren't sent to the front lines. If these people were to really fight, they wouldn't necessarily be weak. I presume you have all heard about the events at the front lines. The Wuji sect and the Qingming sect have already allied with the Feng family. If a war truly breaks out, to be honest, neither side will have an easy time. Therefore, we have settled on a plan to decide whether the Feng family can enter the 9 provinces continent through a duel. If the duel is lost, the 5 sects will have to divide territory for the Feng family. If the duel is won, the Feng family must withdraw from the 9 provinces continent and head to the Endless Sea. For the sect, and for ourselves, we must win this duel. Grand Elder Shunshao said as he looked at the crowd. The Purple Mansion cultivator present were all filled with battle intent. Grand Elder Shunshao continued. This duel will consist of 10 matches. Our Cloud Sea sect, along with the Taishu sect and the Jinwu sect, must provide 10 people. Our 3 sects have agreed to first select 10 people internally, and finally, those 30 people will compete to select the final 10. Everyone, do you have confidence? We do, everyone responded. Good. In this duel, you're also fighting for the sect. Therefore, if you're selected within the sect, you will be rewarded with a peak grade magic treasure. If you can ultimately represent the 3 sects in battle, there will also be a reward. If you can win, there will be yet another reward. Grand Elder Shunxiao said. This time, he spoke of some practical things. Simply fighting for the sect might be an honor, but it was too abstract. Not everyone had an extremely strong sense of belonging to the sect. Furthermore, preparing rewards was also to motivate the Purple Mansion elders within the sect. This method was simple but effective. The Purple Mansion elders on the plaza became even more excited. If they were selected, then represented the 3 sects in battle and won, they could obtain 3 rewards. Just being selected earned a peak grade magic treasure. The rewards for the following 2 stages would certainly not be bad either. They even understood that if the 3 sects ultimately won, there would likely be even more rewards. This immediately stirred even stronger emotions in them. Seeing the morale rising, the 4 Grand Elders were also very satisfied. They then announced the selection rules. All Purple Mansion cultivator within the sect could participate. Moreover, the first round of selection would begin right now. Those willing to participate should remain in the plaza, while those unwilling to participate should leave first. After the Grand Elder finished speaking, not a single person left. What a joke. In this situation, regardless of whether you were actually willing to fight for the sect, you couldn't just leave. That would be clearly telling the Grand Elders that you had no sense of belonging to the sect and were unwilling to fight for it. Chen Xian did not leave either. Although he hadn't been in the sect for very long, he still felt a fair amount of belonging to the Cloud Sea sect. Even though he was using a cheat, it was also because of the Cloud Sea sect that his cultivation could proceed so smoothly, allowing him to reach his current level in just a few years. If he hadn't joined the Cloud Sea sect, but had joined a small sect, or even become a loose cultivator instead, then he wouldn't have been able to obtain the Emperor's Sutra and top-tier Dao techniques. Without the Emperor's Sutra and top-tier Dao techniques, the effect of his system would certainly be greatly diminished. Although he felt he could still have cultivated to his current realm, and even higher, it would have certainly required much more effort and much more sweat. So, ultimately, he was very grateful to the Cloud Sea sect. Additionally, the atmosphere within the Cloud Sea sect was truly good, without any of the petty exclusions, envy of talent, or filthy schemes. This made him truly feel a strong sense of belonging to the Cloud Sea sect. This time, even if there were no rewards, he would be willing to participate in the duel for the sect. Of course, to be honest, his willingness to fight for the sect was also mainly because this was just a duel, so safety was guaranteed. The 4 Grand Elders were very pleased to see that no one left. Then, let the selection begin. Next, I will release spiritual pressure. Those who endure until only the top 100 remain will advance through the first round of selection. Grand Elder Xinxiao looked at everyone and spoke. This kind of pressure-based assessment. Those who held on until the end weren't necessarily the strongest, but those who were strong would definitely hold on until the end. Hearing the Grand Elder's words, everyone quickly focused their minds, preparing to face the nascent soul spiritual pressure. The spiritual pressure of a high-level cultivator on a lower-level cultivator was terrifying. Grand Elder Xinxiao's gaze swept across all the Purple Mansion cultivator in the field. With a slight thought, an extremely faint yet clearly discernible spiritual pressure quietly spread from his body, like ripples from a small pebble thrown into a calm lake, slowly covering the entire selection area. This initial pressure was only equivalent to the full spiritual pressure of an ordinary Zifu cultivator, perhaps even a bit softer. Its purpose was not to filter, but to warn and allow for adaptation. It gave all the Purple Mansion elders present, especially those disciples who had never experienced the pressure of a high-level cultivator, a clear signal and a buffer period to perceive, adjust their state, and adapt to the feeling of being enveloped by a higher level of power. Although the pressure tested strength and will. For cultivators who had never directly faced the pressure of a high-level cultivator, it was highly likely that their minds would be cowed and their spiritual power would stagnate upon first contact. Thus, it might cause some people to perform poorly. If this were an ordinary sect competition, being eliminated for such a reason would only be blamed on one's own insufficient preparation or weak heart nature. But this selection concerned the battle 6 months later. Its purpose was to select the strongest Zifu combatants for the 3 sects of Yanhai. There could not be the slightest oversight. Truly powerful disciples must not be eliminated early due to non-strength factors like maladaptation. Therefore, Grand Elder Shunshao did not immediately release his majestic nascent soul pressure. Many elders were momentarily stunned upon feeling this gentle initial pressure, but they soon understood the Grand Elder's intention. They quickly focused their minds, circulated their cultivation techniques, stabilized their purple mansions, and adjusted their states to the optimum to meet the real test ahead. This was also Chan Xian's first time experiencing the pressure of a high-level cultivator. Somewhat helplessly, his foundation was too stable. This bit of pressure gave him absolutely no sensation. Thus, he could only keep his mind focused and wait for stronger pressure. A moment later, once the breath of everyone in the field had stabilized, a sharp light flashed in Grand Elder Shinxiao's eyes. The diffusing pressure began to increase at a steady and continuous pace, bit by bit, like an invisible tide. At first, it only brushed against the ankles, then it washed over the calves, rising steadily. The pressure gradually became clear and substantial, acting upon each elder's physical body, purple mansion, and even their divine soul. Soon, some began to succumb to the pressure and collapse to the ground. Every elder who fell immediately felt the pressure vanish. They understood that this meant they were eliminated. They could only shake their heads and sigh helplessly as they stood up, left the crowd, and waited to the side. As time passed, one elder after another was eliminated. Amidst the crowd, Chun Xian's expression remained unchanged. The pressure of a nascent soul cultivator was still quite easy for him to handle. This also showed just how strong his current power was. With his triple path cultivation, even if a nascent soul cultivator exerted their full spiritual pressure, it wouldn't have much of an impact on Chun Xian. Grand Elder Dan Shao had been keeping an eye on Chun Xian. Seeing Chun Xian so relaxed, he couldn't help but marvel inwardly at what a freakish kid he was. Marveling aside, he wasn't surprised. After all, he knew Chun Xian practiced the Azure Sky Dragon Transformation art. Many had seen the art Chun Xian displayed, and he had clearly reached a certain level in it. Additionally, he knew Chun Xian had cultivated the Heavenly Observation Divine Eye, which meant Chun Xian's progress in the Cloud See Heaven Observation technique was likely not weak either. So, he felt it was reasonable that Chun Xian could withstand the pressure. Time passed. The 400-plus Purple Mansion elders were soon reduced to only 30. When only 30 people remained, Grand Elder Shunshao withdrew the pressure. As the pressure vanished, everyone gasped for air. Some were already drenched in sweat. They didn't know how long it had been since they last broke a sweat like this. The pressure of a high-level cultivator was truly terrifying. Many had gritted their teeth and endured to pass this first round of selection. Grand Elder Shinshao scanned those who had advanced, memorizing their faces. The first round ended, but the second round didn't start immediately. The Grand Elder told everyone to go back and rest for a few days first. The second round of selection would begin in a week. The Grand Elder also gave a preview of the second round. An arena tournament would be held. There would be 10 arenas. 10 elders could defend the stages while others challenged them. In truth, this kind of arena tournament wasn't necessarily perfectly fair. The best way would be for the 30 people to take turns in one-on-one matches. However, if they did that, it would take hundreds of matches to finish. It took quite a while for Purple Mansion Cultivator to fight a single duel. By the time hundreds of matches were over, the time for the actual battle might have already arrived. They had to select 10 people as quickly as possible, and then the 3 sects would hold another selection to choose the final 10. At the sect plaza, the Purple Mansion elders left one after another. Especially the 30 advanced elders like Chun Xian. They all went back to regulate their breathing and prepare for the arena tournament in a week's time in their best condition. Chun Xian also returned to his immortal cave. He didn't really need to regulate his breathing, as he hadn't expended much at all. After returning, he continued to consume dragon scale pills to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, a week had passed. At the sect plaza, not only did the Purple Mansion elders come this time, but even some disciples below the Zifu level who hadn't dared to come last time ran over to watch the spectacle. The Grand Elder didn't drive them away. Although only Purple Mansion cultivator were needed for the battle, the event concerned the entire sect. Since the disciples within the sect wanted to watch, they naturally could. 10 arenas had already been raised on the plaza. The 30 people, including Chun Xian, had all arrived. Grand Elder Shinshao looked at Chun Xian and the others and said, "The second round of selection begins. As you can see, there are 10 arenas here. Next, those who step onto the stage first will be the defenders. Everyone only has 3 chances to challenge. Seize the opportunity. Now, let the selection begin." As Grand Elder Shinxiao's voice fell, the Purple Mansion elders present moved. It looked like they all intended to occupy an arena. They were all favored children of heaven. They weren't considering how to be selected more easily. What they thought was that they must occupy a stage and defend it until the very end. Chun Xian also planned to grab an arena to defend. But just as the 30 of them moved, they immediately felt a wave of pressure striking them. It seemed the Grand Elder had added a bit of difficulty to the process of grabbing the arenas. Everyone's expression changed. Only Chun Xian's expression remained unchanged. With a flash of his figure, he rushed onto an arena, seemingly completely unaffected by the pressure. The Purple Mansion elders present were all somewhat dumbfounded. To many of the Purple Mansion elders, Chun Xian was a stranger. After all, Chun Xian had not made his breakthrough long ago, so he hardly knew any of the elders. Only a small handful of elders recognized Chun Xian. In fact, the elders who did know Chun Xian were actually even more astonished. Precisely because they knew him, they understood just how freakish Chun Xian was. A disciple who had only entered the sect a few years ago had now actually reached this level. Some disciples who had participated in the Flowing Cloud trial and Outer Sect Grand Competition alongside Chun Xian also watched him on the platform with complex emotions. "Senior brother's son, your Danshao line has truly produced a fine prospect." Grand Elder Shinshao looked toward the Grand Elder of Danshao and spoke. The other 2 Grand Elders also offered their congratulations, feeling more than a little envious of the Danshao lineage. The smile on the face of the Danshao Grand Elder was already difficult to conceal. He laughed happily while humbly saying things like he's all right. On the plaza, as the crowd snapped back to their senses, the Purple Mansion elders ascended the platforms one after another. The 10 platforms were quickly fully occupied. The remaining 20 people could only choose to challenge. These 20 people looked at the 10 people on the platforms. The other 9 were very famous within the sect, and their strengths were well documented. Several people felt that challenging them would be disadvantageous. Naturally, even more people felt that Chun Xian was not to be trifled with. After all, he was the first to ascend the platform while bearing the nascent soul pressure without even changing his expression. If you were to say his strength was low, how could that be possible? One person who knew Chun Xian and was aware that he had only recently achieved a breakthrough was currently sizing him up. He had already cultivated to Zifu perfection for many years. No matter how formidable Chun Xian was, it was impossible for him to be too freakish, right? With this thought in mind, he ascended the platform where Chun Xian was located. Whether he could win or not, he would know after a try. It didn't matter even if he lost. "Junior brother Chun, I am Ouyang Chuan. Please." After this, Elder Ouyang stepped onto the platform. He cupped his hands. "Please, senior brother." Chun Xian's expression remained unchanged, as if he wasn't worried about Ouyang Chuan's challenge at all. Seeing this, Ouyang Chuan felt slightly displeased. He thought to himself, so what if you were a genius? Throughout the Cloud Sea sect, who isn't a genius? To look down on me, so I must let you have a good look at my strength. With a thought from Ouyang Chuan, a long saber magic treasure, entirely crimson and burning with raging flames, flew out from his storage ring. The blade was engraved with complex fire patterns, and a scorching heat instantly filled the entire platform, even causing the air to slightly distort. Blazing sky-burning blade, go! Ouyang Chuan let out a low shout, and the crimson long saber turned into a streak of flaming light, carrying a searing wave of qi as it slashed directly at Chun Xian. The blazing sky-burning blade was this elder's life-bound treasure. Although many elders in the sect would choose the Nine Heavens sword as their life-bound treasure, in reality, even more elders would not choose the Nine Heavens sword. While everyone in the Cloud Sea sect said the Nine Heavens sword was the strongest magic treasure, it could only truly be called the strongest when all 9 flying swords were gathered to execute a sword formation. But 9 flying swords were too many. Not only were they difficult to nurture, but they were also difficult to obtain. Not everyone was like Chun Xian, who could refine them just by saying so and directly gather all 9. If one could not gather all 9, it was better to refine a magic treasure that was more suitable and better aligned with oneself. Some people simply didn't like using swords at all, or some with proud temperaments disdained following the old path of the Cloud Sea Holy Land ancestral master, wanting to use a unique life-bound treasure of their own. Thus, while a group in the Cloud Sea sect used the Nine Heavens sword, they were not the majority. Returning to the topic, at the same time Ouyang Chuan summoned his life-bound treasure, spiritual energy surged around him as he executed a fire element Dao technique he had cultivated. Large patches of crimson fire clouds appeared out of thin air on the platform, rolling toward Chun Xian in an attempt to block his retreat, forming a combined offensive of saber techniques and fire clouds. Facing the aggressive attack, Chun Xian remained calm and composed, activating the Xianhuang Wall to directly block all of Ouyang Chuan's attacks. This selection did not restrict the use of magic treasures, because magic treasures could also be used during the actual competition. After Ouyang Chuan's attack was blocked, Chun Xian's mind moved slightly, and 2 Nine Heaven swords flew out from his purple mansion. One met the blazing sky-burning blade, while the other turned into a sharp streak of sword light, slashing toward the encroaching fire clouds. The quality of the Nine Heaven sword was extremely high. Wherever the sword light reached, the fire clouds were easily torn apart and dissipated, flowing cloud myriad forms. Chun Xian softly murmured, and cloud qi rapidly spread around him. He did not turn the cloud qi into sabers or swords to attack. Instead, he transformed it into countless tough threads of cloud qi. They spread silently from the platform floor and the air, like an invisible net, beginning to interfere with and restrict Ouyang Chuan's movement space, while waiting for an opportunity to entwine his magic treasure and body joints. Seeing his saber techniques and fire clouds easily neutralized, Ouyang Chuan was startled. He immediately pushed the blazing sky-burning blade to its full potential, the saber momentum becoming even more violent and fierce. Simultaneously, he used a movement technique to try and escape the entanglement of the flowing cloud myriad forms while condensing several massive flaming palm prints to strike at Chun Xian from different directions. Chun Xian controlled the Nine Heavens swords to fly nimbly, accurately intercepting and shattering the flaming palm prints. Throughout the entire process, Chun Xian remained consistently at ease. Before long, Chun Xian decided not to drag it out any further. Chun Xian's gaze sharpened as a third Nine Heavens sword suddenly joined the fray. Under Chun Xian's exquisite control, the 3 Nine Heavens swords instantly formed a simple triangular sword formation, trapping Ouyang Chuan's blazing sky-burning blade within. The sword formation glowed with shifting light, and sharp sword qi wove into a net. It not only suppressed the power of the flaming long saber, but also faintly locked onto Ouyang Chuan's qi signature. At the same time, the cloud qi threads formed by the flowing cloud myriad forms suddenly tightened like countless spirit snakes, taking the opportunity to wrap around Ouyang Chuan's legs and the arms he used to hold his hand seals. Ouyang Chuan suddenly felt the pressure intensify. His movements were restricted, and even his spiritual energy circulation came to a halt. He struggled violently, trying to snap the cloud qi threads and recall his magic treasure. But how could Chun Xian give him the chance? "I've won this round, senior brother Ouyang." As Chun Xian's voice fell, the light from the 3-9 heavens swords flared brilliantly, instantly knocking down the blazing sky-burning blade. They then flew around Ouyang Chuan, their tips pointing directly at him. Feeling the sharp sword qi close at hand and the restraints on his body, Ouyang Chuan's expression changed several times. Finally, he let out a long sigh and dissipated the spiritual energy around him. "Junior brother Chen's strength is superior. I have lost." Ouyang Chuan's mood was somewhat complex. Wasn't it said that Chun Xian had only recently achieved a breakthrough? Why was his spiritual energy so profound? The strength of the flowing cloud myriad forms was linked to the intensity of a cultivator's spiritual energy. When Chun Xian's flowing cloud myriad forms turned into threads to bind him, he truly felt that he couldn't break free. This proved one thing. Chun Xian's spiritual energy intensity was very high, already far exceeding his own. Speaking of which, Chun Xian had also given him face by using 3-9 heaven swords. He felt that as long as Chun Xian was willing, he could have defeated him even without using his life-bound treasure. While the two were fighting, the other Purple Mansion cultivator had not started their challenges. Instead, they had been observing the match between Chun Xian and Ouyang Chuan. Seeing Chun Xian's strength, the Purple Mansion cultivator below the arena exchanged glances. The first person to ascend the arena was indeed no simple character. The Purple Mansion cultivator, who thought Chun Xian might be easier to deal with, also dismissed that idea. It's just, in that case, none of the 10 arena defenders are easy to deal with. The remaining Purple Mansion cultivator couldn't possibly just watch Chun Xian and the others get selected directly. They still had to try. So, others subsequently began to be challenged. Chun Xian also encountered challengers. However, they were all easily dealt with by Chun Xian. He didn't use too many methods, only the Xianhuang wall above his head, and then he unleashed 2 or 3-9 heaven swords and flowing cloud myriad forms. He didn't use purple imperial dragon flame, one thought seals the heavens, or physical body divine abilities, because Chun Xian still couldn't fully activate all 9-9 heavens swords to form a sword array. Therefore, Chun Xian's strongest methods right now were actually purple imperial dragon flame and one thought seals the heavens. Purple imperial dragon flame needs no further explanation. It had wandered outside for a long time, devoured many beast fires, and had now advanced to the 3rd tier. Flames between heaven and earth can be divided into 9 tiers based on their origin. Beast fire, also known as mortal fire, is only tier 1 to tier 3. Spirit fire belongs to tier 4 to tier 6. Above spirit fire is divine fire, which belongs to tier 7 to tier 9. The mysterious fire cultivators cultivate through spirit, devouring mysterious fire, are initially only tier 1 mortal fire. Purple imperial dragon flame, through its own efforts, had been fighting outside and had raised itself to tier 3. A tier 3 flame, combined with Chun Xian's cultivation and his perfection-level daoart proficiency, makes the current power of Purple Imperial Dragon Flame extremely terrifying. It's a pity, though, that Purple Imperial Dragon Flame hasn't advanced to Spirit Fire yet. However, there's a reason for this. Due to the characteristics of Spirit devouring mysterious fire, Purple Imperial Dragon Flame can only successfully advance to Spirit Fire after devouring a Spirit Fire. Purple Imperial Dragon Flame had been traveling for several years, but had not yet encountered a spirit fire. As for one thought seals the heavens, although it is merely a daoart related to restrictions, don't think that restrictions cannot be used in combat. especially since one thought seals the heavens is a supreme Tao technique. Its characteristic is a single thought forms a restriction. As long as he comes into contact with them, he can instantly set up a restriction to seal the cultivation of cultivators of the same rank. In a sense, one thought seals the heavens is even more terrifying than purple imperial dragon flame. Even Chun Xian's one thought seals the heavens is currently only at minor achievement and has not yet been cultivated to perfection. If it were cultivated to perfection, it would be even more terrifying. He wouldn't even need to get close to make contact, but could directly form a restriction from a distance with a single thought, using magic treasures or daoarts like flowing cloud myriad forms. Back to the main topic. As time passed, some challengers succeeded on other arenas, but on the first arena, Chun Xian firmly held his position as the arena master. This round of competition did not limit the number of challenges for challengers. As long as you were willing, you could challenge all 10 arenas. Therefore, this round of selection lasted for several days. Finally, seeing that all 20 Purple Mansion cultivator below the stage no longer challenged, Grand Elder Shun Xiao officially announced the end of the selection. The 10 people, including Chun Xian, were successfully selected. Of course, this was only the selection within the sect. There would be a 3-sect selection later. While announcing the end of the challenges, Grand Elder Shin Xiao also distributed the first set of rewards. 10 people, each receiving a peak grade magic treasure. Grand Elder Shin Xiao took out over 30 peak grade magic treasures for them to choose from. Over 30 peak grade magic treasures, shimmering with spiritual light and exuding various auras, floated in midair. For a moment, treasure light overflowed, dazzling the eyes. Swords, spears, halberds, shields, armors, flying boats, jade seals, cauldrons, gourds, the variety was immense, each exuding powerful spiritual chi fluctuations, making Chun Xian feel a bit overwhelmed. He scanned these magic treasures one by one, quickly calculating his needs. In terms of offense, he had the 9 Heaven Sword and the 12 Flying Needle magic treasures obtained in the ruins, which were already formidable enough. For defense, he had the Xinhuang Wall. For escaping and traveling, the Qinghuan wind-chasing shuttle. For alchemy and artifact refining, the Bagua furnace. For a time, he didn't seem to have any particularly urgent need for a certain type of magic treasure. Just as he was pondering, a uniquely shaped magic treasure caught his eye. It was a palm-sized, warm white jade ring with delicate cloud and Yao beast patterns carved on its surface, subtly exuding a gentle aura of life. Chun Xian's mind stirred, and his heavenly observation divine eye quietly activated. His divine sense probed, carefully sensing this magic treasure. With his heavenly observation divine eye and extraordinary artifact refining skills, he immediately understood what type of magic treasure this was. This jade ring was a storage magic treasure specifically prepared for spirit pets. Unlike the peak grade magic treasure storage ring obtained in the ruins, the internal space of this jade ring was more comfortable and suitable for spirit pets. Not only was the spiritual qi abundant, but it also contained a special Dao charm beneficial to spirit pets. Long-term nurturing of spirit pets within it would greatly benefit their development, bloodline awakening, and even breakthrough of bottlenecks. This jade ring was unusual. The materials used were extremely good, but it seemed that due to the insufficient skill of the artifact refining person, the materials were wasted, and it was only refined to the level of a peak grade magic treasure. Although it was only a peak grade magic treasure, in terms of effect, it was better than ordinary peak grade magic treasures. Chun Xian immediately decided to choose this jade ring. On one hand, this magic treasure was of extremely high quality. On the other hand, he indeed had a use for it. The stone egg had not yet hatched, and storing it in an empty and even pitch-black storage ring was fine for now. But once the stone egg hatched, it would be unsuitable to keep it in the storage ring. If the spirit pet wasn't comfortable, even if it wouldn't betray him over time, it would definitely not be a good thing. Chun Xian cupped his hands to Grand Elder Shin Xiao and said, "Grand Elder, disciple has made his choice. Which magic treasure do you want? The Grand Elder asked with a kind smile. Chun Xian pointed to the white jade ring. This one. All right. Grand Elder Shen Xiao was slightly stunned, thinking, does Chun Xian raise spirit pets? Well, whether he raises one or not is Chun Xian's business, and raising a spirit pet is fine. A suitable spirit pet can be of great help to a cultivator. So he didn't say much and directly handed the jade ring to Chun Xian. He would not interfere with which magic treasure these disciples chose. It was their own choice. Anyway, none of these magic treasures were bad. The white jade ring flew into Chun Xian's hand the next second. This magic treasure is called the Spirit Pet Ring. Grand Elder Shen Xiao stated the magic treasure's name. Chun Xian couldn't help but inwardly complain about the name, thinking it was too casual and simple. But it wasn't important. It was just a name. Chun Xian again cupped his hands, thanking the Grand Elder for the gifted magic treasure. On the other side, the other 9 people also successively chose their magic treasures. Go now, cultivate well. The 3-sect selection will take some time. Someone will notify you when it's about to begin. Grand Elder Shen Xiao waved his hand and said. At the sect plaza, the crowd gradually dispersed. Several elders who knew Chun Xian gathered around him. Among them, the one Chun Xian was most familiar with was Elder Xie. It was thanks to Elder Xie that he had joined Dan Xiao Peak in the first place. Elder Xie brought Jiang Xiong over as well, and a few of them chatted pleasantly. They didn't talk about much, mostly just discussing Chun Xian's prowess, how he had cultivated to the Purple Mansion rank shortly after joining the sect, and was already among the best of the Purple Mansion elders. After their exchange, Chun Xian returned to his immortal cave. Once back in his immortal cave, Chun Xian first refined the spirit pet ring, then transferred the blood pool and the stone egg from his storage ring into the spirit pet ring. Speaking of which, after being absorbed by the stone egg for so long, the color of the blood pool had faded considerably. Perhaps when the color of the blood pool became as clear as water, the stone egg would hatch. After the blood pool and stone egg were transferred, Chun Xian noticed that the speed at which the stone egg absorbed the power of the blood pool had increased significantly. It seemed to be influenced by the spirit pet ring. This could be considered a good thing. A month later, people from the Taishu sect and the Jinwu sect arrived at the Cloud Sea sect. Each of these 2 sects brought 1 nascent soul cultivator and 10 Purple Mansion cultivator. One didn't need to guess to know this was for the selection process. After the nascent soul elders from the Taishu sect and Jinwu sect arrived, they went to meet with the nascent soul cultivators of the Cloud Sea sect. Soon, the 10 Purple Mansion cultivator, including Chun Xian, received messages one after another stating that the final selection would take place in 3 days at the sect plaza. The elders and disciples of the Cloud Sea sect had all heard the news, and the matter was being discussed everywhere within the sect. 3 days later, at the sect plaza, the nascent soul cultivators from the Yunhai, Taishu, and Jinwu sects were already waiting on the plaza. In the center were 30 Purple Mansion cultivator, 10 from each of the 3 sects. This final selection appeared to follow the same rules as the previous one. 10 arenas had already been raised on the plaza. Grand Elder Shen Xiao announced, the final selection rules remain as before. There are 10 arenas. You must seize them yourselves. The 10 people who successfully defend their arenas until the end will be the ones to represent the 3 sects in battle. I declare the selection begun. As soon as he finished speaking, the 30 Purple Mansion cultivator moved almost simultaneously. This time, Grand Elder Shen Xiao did not apply any pressure. It all depended on Chun Xian and the others' reactions and speed. Each of them was an outstanding talent within their respective sects, and at this moment, everyone wanted to seize the initiative and claim a spot as an arena lord. The 30 Purple Mansion cultivator all displayed their own divine abilities. Some used movement techniques or Taoist arts. Some utilized divine abilities, and others used magic treasures that increased their speed. One after another, they dashed toward the nearest vacant arena with precision and speed. Relying on his flowing cloud moon step at the stage of perfection, Chun Xian's speed was also in the top tier, and he was about to reach an arena. Arriving at the edge of the arena, almost at the same time as him, was a purple mansion elder from the Taishu sect. Their eyes met, and an invisible clash occurred between them. Chun Xian's footwork changed slightly as he executed the Azure Dragon Step. His speed actually increased by a fraction at the final moment, allowing him to be the first to land steadily in the center of the arena. The Azure Dragon Step was a divine ability inherent in the second volume of the Azure Sky Dragon Transformation Art. The second volume of the Azure Sky Dragon Transformation Art possessed two divine abilities, the Azure Dragon Step and the Azure Dragon Roar. The former was a movement-type divine ability, while the latter could emit a dragon's roar to intimidate enemies. If the opponent's strength was too weak, they might even have their internal organs shattered by the roar and die instantly. Returning to the matter at hand, seeing that the first arena was taken, the Taishu sect elder turned toward another arena without hesitation. In the blink of an eye, the 10 arenas were occupied by the 10 purple mansion cultivator with the fastest reactions and speed. Chun Xian's gaze swept over the other 9 arena lords. There were 3 cultivators from the Cloud Sea sect, including himself, that made 4. In this wave of seizing arenas, their Cloud Sea sect had managed to take the lead. The remaining 20 cultivators now became the challengers. They scrutinized the 10 arena lords with solemn expressions, beginning to calculate their challenge strategies. This selection concerned the honor and responsibility of representing the 3 sects. Not to mention there were rewards. No one would give up easily. The upcoming defense and challenges were bound to be even more intense. However, the disciples of each sect still prioritized challenging the arena lords of other sects. For instance, Chun Xian's arena soon welcomed a middle-aged-looking purple mansion elder from the Jinwu sect. Wang Su of the Jinwu sect, "Greetings, fellow Taoist," Wang Su said while cupping his hands. Wang Su of the Jinwu sect, "Greetings, fellow Taoist." Chun Xian of the Cloud Sea sect. Chun Xian returned the gesture and stated his name. "Fellow Taoist Chun, I observe that your qi and blood are condensed and heavy, with a faint aura of a dragon's roar. You must have profound attainments in the path of body refining. I have a request. I wonder if you could use your body cultivator methods later." Wang Su's gaze was like lightning. As he looked at Chun Xian, a hint of excitement and battle intent from meeting a kindred spirit flashed in his eyes. He hailed from the Jinwu sect, which had many body cultivators. He possessed an extremely keen perception of a body refiner's qi and blood, bones, and even that unique power and momentum in every gesture. Almost the moment he saw Chun Xian, Wang Su detected traces of body refining from Chun Xian's upright posture, his steady flow of qi and blood, and that sense of physical body strength that was restrained but thick and internal. Moreover, he was certain that Chun Xian's body refining attainments were not weak. The Jinwu sect was famous for its body cultivators. Its inherited emperor scripture was a body refining cultivation technique, and the sect's ancestral master had even attained the Tao through martial arts, punching his way to the position of a great emperor. After the ancestral master attained the Tao, he took the name Zhenwu and established the Jinwu Holy Land in the Hunyuan world. In short, due to the sect's legacy, the people of the Jinwu sect had extremely deep attainments and a natural affinity for the path of body refining. At the same time, they yearned to compete with cultivators of the same type to validate what they had learned. Chun Xian also had some understanding of the Jinwu sect. He knew that the Jinwu sect had many martial idiots. "I also happen to want to see the Taishan true martial scripture of the Jinwu sect," Chun Xian said. As Chun Xian spoke, he fully exerted the Azure Sky Dragon Transformation Art, and dragon veins and dragon scales gradually emerged across his body. Looking at Chun Xian, the light in Wang Su's eyes grew even brighter. "No wonder your qi and blood are so strong, fellow Taoist. It turns out you practice the Azure Sky Dragon Transformation Art." Wang Su did not underestimate the Azure Sky Dragon Transformation Art in the slightest. Although one volume of this technique was lost, it was undeniably an emperor scripture. At least before attaining the Tao as a great emperor, the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art was a body-refining technique of the same rank as their Jinwu sect's Taishan true martial scripture. Fellow Taoist, watch out. The battle intent in Wang Su's eyes intensified as he gave a low shout. The qi and blood within his body roared, and a majestic force of qi and blood, as thick and condensed as mercury, erupted. His muscles bulged all over his body, and his skin took on a bronze metallic luster. Clearly, he had also cultivated a body-refining technique to an extremely profound level. With no more idle talk, the two moved almost simultaneously. Wang Su took a step forward, causing the arena floor to shake. He was executing a profound footwork technique from the Taishan true martial scripture, instantly crossing several yards. His right fist struck out directly toward Chun Xian's face without any fancy tricks. Wherever the fist passed, the air was compressed until it let out an explosive boom. Within that pure power was contained a fierce and peerless martial will. Chun Xian did not dodge or avoid it, meeting it with a punch of his own. Their fists collided, producing a dull boom like a war drum. Both figures swayed simultaneously, the stone slabs of the arena beneath their feet cracking inch by inch as airwaves rolled outward. Good strength, Wang Su praised, but his offensive did not stop for a moment. Fists, palms, elbows, knees, every part of his body turned into a most ferocious weapon. His moves were simple and grand, yet incomparably sharp. Every strike was heavy and powerful, carrying the might to crumble mountains and crack stones. A perfect embodiment of a Jinwu sect body cultivator combining body refining with martial arts techniques to the extreme. Chun Xian responded with the power of the dragon vein and dragon scales from the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art, coupled with his physical body divine ability. His attacks were equally fierce, carrying the overbearing sense of power unique to the Dragon Clan. As he unleashed the Azure Dragon Palm and Azure Dragon Finger, the faint sound of dragon roars accompanied them. For a time, two figures crossed and collided at high speed on the arena. The sound of fists and feet clashing was incessant, as the confrontation of pure physical strength and blood vitality stirred up bursts of wild wind. The Taishan true martial scripture was indeed extraordinary. Its move transitioned smoothly, integrating offense and defense. The practitioner was experienced in battle, and his application of power was subtle and precise. Although Chun Xian's Azure Sky Dragon transformation art was strong, he had not been practicing the dragon scale volume for long, and his body refining had not yet reached the fourth realm peak. In the continuous head-on confrontation, he gradually felt the pressure. His blood vitality churned, and he was suppressed by Wang Su's exquisite and continuous offensive, faintly falling into a disadvantage. Fortunately, the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art's enhancement of the physical body strength was superior to the Taishan true martial scripture. For the time being, Chun Xian would not be defeated. Chun Xian's gaze remained calm. While defending with all his might, he quietly activated the heavenly observation divine eye. Wang Su only said he should use body cultivator methods, but didn't say he couldn't use other means. Moreover, this wasn't a casual sparring match. It was a selection. To win, it was impossible for him not to use other methods. Under the divine eye, Wang Su's seemingly airtight and peerlessly fierce offensive, the rhythm of his spiritual energy and blood vitality flow, the subtle changes in his move, and even the tiny flaws caused by his exertion, all became clearly discernible. Unable to prevail after a long attack, Wang Su's aura grew even stronger as he performed a physical body divine ability from the Taishan true martial scripture. Jinwu Mountain Shaker. Wang Su condensed his entire body's blood vitality. His right fist, glowing with a brilliant bronze light, struck toward Chun Xian's chest with a power 30% greater than before, intending to defeat Chun Xian in one blow. At the moment Wang Su unleashed this divine ability, the heavenly observation divine, I precisely captured that fleeting opportunity. Chun Xian's feet shifted subtly with the Azure Dragon step. His figure moved half a foot to the side by a hair's breadth, bypassing the peak of the fist's power. Simultaneously, on his long-prepared right palm, all the dragon veins suddenly converged, turning into a highly solid azure dragon phantom that coiled around his arm and palm. His majestic blood vitality and physical strength erupted instantly. Azure Dragon Palm. This palm did not meet Wang Su's fist. Instead, at a tricky angle, it struck like lightning toward the gap in Wang Su's right ribs, which was slightly exposed due to his full-force punch. The timing of this palm was perfect, hitting at the very moment when Wang Su's offensive was at its strongest, but his defense was relatively at its weakest. Wang Su's expression changed slightly. It was too late to change his move or defend, so he could only hurriedly circulate his blood vitality to endure it. Thud! A dull impact sounded. Wang Su's buddhi shook violently. The protective blood vitality at his right ribs was forcibly penetrated by the peerlessly fierce azure dragon palm force. He let out a muffled groan and stumbled back uncontrollably. Every step left a deep footprint on the arena. The blood vitality in his body was in a state of chaotic turmoil. He had already suffered some light injuries, and his offensive was instantly broken. Chun Xian pressed his advantage, performing the flowing cloud moon chase to follow him like a shadow. His left hand turned from a finger into a sword, and a wisp of extremely condensed green finger gang pointed directly at the Shanzhong acupoint on Wang Su's chest. It was the Azure Dragon Finger. Before the finger gang arrived, the sharp wind already made Wang Su's hair stand on end. He knew that if this move hit home, the outcome would be decided immediately. At the critical moment, Wang Su let out a great shout, forcibly suppressing his blood vitality. He crossed his palms in front of his chest, and a bronze light flared brilliantly. Clang! The finger gang struck the crossed palms, actually producing the sound of clashing metal. Wang Su was once again shaken back several steps, his arms numb, but he had ultimately blocked that killing finger strike. He steadied himself and took a deep breath to suppress the churning blood vitality in his body. His gaze toward Chun Xian was filled with amazement and admiration. He knew that the flaw just now had been extremely tiny. Ordinary cultivator could never have caught it, let alone counterattacked so precisely. That Chun Xian could do it was by no means a fluke. Fellow Taoist Chin's strength is high. I am impressed. Fellow Taoist Wang, if it were only by body cultivator means, I would not be your match. I used other methods just now to catch your flaw. Chun Xian said directly. Wang Su chuckled and shook his head. That's not right. I am inferior to you, fellow Taoist. I admit defeat. Wang Su cupped his fists and directly admitted defeat. Although Chun Xian's palm and finger strikes just now hadn't defeated him directly, they had left him with no strength to fight further. Fellow Taoist, thank you for the match. Chun Xian smiled and returned the gesture. After Wang Su left the stage, he immediately went to regulate his breathing and meditate. He still wanted to challenge other arenas later. He did not want to give up this opportunity to fight for the 3 sections. Others were doing the same. At this moment, battles were underway on the other 9 arenas. On the square, the nascent soul cultivators of the Zhenwu sect looked at the 4 Grand Elder of the Cloud Sea sect with some amazement. Fellow Taoists, your Cloud Sea sect truly has many genius. Haha, it's all right. This kid just happens to have a bit of talent in body refining. This is more than a bit of talent. The opponent he defeated ranks at least in the top 3 among the current Purple Mansion Elder of the Zhenwu sect. As they chatted, the Grand Elder of the Cloud Sea sect had smiles on their faces that were hard to conceal. On Chun Xian's side, once he had recovered, a Purple Mansion cultivator from the Taishu sect came up to challenge him. The opponent had been observing the battle between Chun Xian and Wang Su just now. He had considered many ways to counter Chun Xian in his mind. As it turned out, once the fight began, Chun Xian didn't use the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art at all, but instead wielded the 9 Heavens sword against him. Before long, the opponent was defeated by Chun Xian's sword. Chun Xian had won against 2 people in a row. The disciple of the Zhenwu sect knew Wang Su's strength very well. Therefore, no more disciple from the Zhenwu sect came up. As for the disciple of the Taishu sect, they each thought it over and felt that Chun Xian was indeed difficult to deal with. Being a dual body in magic cultivation, especially since he seemed very strong in both body refining and qi refining, no one else went to challenge Chun Xian. This was just as well. It saved him some trouble. Chun Xian sat cross-legged on the ground to rest and watched the challenges on the other arenas. After Wang Su recovered, he ascended the arena of a Taishu sect disciple and successfully seized it. Wang Su's strength was very high, but he was slightly lacking in speed, which was why he hadn't managed to seize an arena at the very beginning. Of course, this didn't mean Wang Su was slow. It was just that the speed of those 10 who seized the arenas was too fast. As challenge after challenge took place on each arena, the situation of the 10 arena lords gradually stabilized and no longer changed. As no one else challenged, Grand Elder Shunshao stood up and announced, "I declare the 3-sect selection officially concluded. Congratulations to all of you. You will represent the 3 sects in the upcoming tournament." After speaking, Grand Elder Shunshao looked kindly at Chun Xian and the others on the stage. At this moment, Chun Xian and the others were the center of attention. Among the 10, the final tally was 4 from Cloud Sea sect, 3 from Zhenwu sect, and 3 from Taishu sect. This was actually the same as the situation when they first occupied the stage. However, the final 10 were different from the 10 who initially occupied the stage. Only 5 people had occupied the stage from the beginning and successfully defended it until now. Naturally, this included Chun Xian. I once told the elders of our Cloud Sea sect that if we were successfully selected to represent the 3 sects in the tournament, the sect would provide rewards. After the 2 fellow Taoists from Zhenwu sect and Taishu sect arrived, I asked them as well, and they confirmed the same. Grand Elder Shunshao finished speaking. He waved his hand, and beams of light flew out, landing in front of the 10 people, including Chun Xian. The rewards for the 10 were identical. The Grand Elders of the 3 sects had clearly discussed it. Chun Xian looked at the rewards before him. A jade bottle, 2 jade tablets, and a jade box. The 2 jade tablets were both engraved with the words top-tier Tao technique. Chun Xian checked the contents of the jade bottle. Inside were 3 mind-settling pills. As for the final jade box, inside was a 3-striped spiritual item. The rewards this time were very generous. 3 mind-settling pills plus a 3-striped spiritual item were enough to guarantee their nascent soul formation. Not to mention the 2 top-tier Tao techniques. Chun Xian was in a good mood. Although he was not short of mind-settling pills or spiritual items, 2 top-tier Tao techniques were still quite good. Moreover, the surplus mind-settling pills and spiritual items could be used for other purposes. With the distribution of rewards complete, the selection was officially over. Grand Elder Shunshao then mentioned 2 more things. Before the tournament, the Grand Elders and the selected disciples of the Zhenwu sect and Taishu sect would remain in the sect, and when the time for the tournament approached, they would head directly to the front lines. Secondly, before the tournament, the 10 Purple Mansion cultivators could seek guidance from the nascent soul cultivators at any time. After these matters were addressed, the gathering dispersed. When Chun Xian prepared to leave, Wang Su called out to him, "Fellow Taoist Chun, if you are free in the coming period, may I pay you a visit?" Wang Su had a favorable impression of Chun Xian and really wanted to befriend him. "I wouldn't mind you visiting, fellow Taoist Wang, but I intend to go into secluded cultivation for a while." Chun Xian explained. This was not an excuse, but the truth. Before the tournament, he planned to push his body refining realm to perfection. No matter. This is my sound transmission jade slip. If you are willing, fellow Taoist Chun, please accept it and contact me anytime. Wang Su smiled, shook his head, and handed over the jade slip. This sound transmission jade slip was a special magical artifact, equivalent to a reusable sound transmission talisman. All right, after cupping his hands, Chun Xian accepted the jade slip. After chatting for a few moments, Chun Xian flew away. Immortal Cave. The selection was finally over, and Chun Xian could properly focus on improving his strength. This battle with Wang Su made him even more eager to quickly raise his body refining realm. Chun Xian summoned the main body and clone of the purple imperial dragon flame, having them refine 2 furnaces of dragon scale pills at once. To improve efficiency, he had previously specially bought a magic treasure pill furnace. Over the next few months, the purple imperial dragon flame never stopped refining pills. Chun Xian also never stopped consuming and refining the dragon scale pills. More and more dragon scales appeared on his body. On this day, Chun Xian condensed the 1,800th dragon scale, and his body refining realm officially reached perfection. Chun Xian felt the current strength of his physical body and was very satisfied. With his current physical body strength, if he were to fight Wang Su again, he wouldn't need to use the heavenly observation divine eye this time. He could win just by using the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art. His cultivation had come to a temporary stop, and the date of the agreed-upon tournament was almost here. Taking advantage of the time before it started, Chun Xian contacted Wang Su, inviting him over to chat and build a friendship, while also wanting to spar with him again. The difference between the Taishan True Martial Scripture and the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art is that the Taishan True Martial Scripture contains many physical body divine abilities, with a greater emphasis on technique. Simply put, the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art emphasizes raw stats, while the Taishan True Martial Scripture emphasizes mechanics. Technique was considered a weakness for Chun Xian. He had sparred with others relatively little, and when using body cultivator methods, he mostly relied on raw power to overwhelm others. Although there was nothing wrong with that, as the saying goes, one is never too old to learn, and one can never have too many skills. If possible, Chun Xian wanted to have both stats and mechanics. After receiving the sound transmission Jade Slip, Wang Su quickly arrived at Chun Xian's immortal cave. The content of their conversation was nothing more than cultivation. Wang Su enthusiastically shared his insights on body refining with Chun Xian, and Chun Xian was happy to oblige. After chatting for a while, Chun Xian suggested, "Fellow Taoist Wang, my Azure Sky Dragon transformation art has improved significantly during this period, and I need to test it against someone. How about we spar again?" "I'd love to," Wang Su responded with a smile. Disciples of the Jinwu sect had never feared sparring. If Chun Xian hadn't brought it up, he would have suggested sparring later anyway. The two then left Chun Xian's immortal cave and came to an open area on the mountain where the immortal cave was located. "Fellow Taoist Wang, since I propose this rematch, I am naturally prepared. Do not be careless." As Chun Xian spoke, he directly activated the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art, causing dragon veins and dragon scales to appear, and his aura surged violently. Wang Su was startled by the sight. In just a few short months, Chun Xian's Azure Sky Dragon transformation art had actually improved this much. Although Chun Xian had mentioned beforehand that his Azure Sky Dragon transformation art had improved significantly, Wang Su hadn't expected it to improve this much. He understood the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art and knew that the cultivation level of the second volume could be determined directly by the dragon scales. A few months ago, the dragon scales Chun Xian had cultivated were only 500, and now there are already 1,800. This speed was truly astonishing. However, Wang Su was not panicked at all. Instead, he was somewhat excited. "Good, fellow Taoist Chun, since that's the case, let's have a thrilling fight." Wang Su laughed heartily and also erupted with his full aura. The two said no more, each unleashing their movement divine abilities, charging towards each other like 2 bolts of lightning. The two collided, fists and palms meeting, emitting a dull, thunderous roar. Shockwaves exploded from the center of the two, flattening the surrounding vegetation. As the battle progressed, the two traded move after move, their movements becoming faster and faster, the momentum growing ever greater. In the blink of an eye, their figures were crisscrossing and maneuvering across the mountain, continuously erupting with earth-shattering roars. In a short while, the surroundings had become a complete mess. When body cultivators spar, it is truly quite destructive to the environment. P.S. Earlier, I wrote that nascent soul formation requires a 5-striped spiritual item. At the time, I was thinking that the nascent soul is the 5th realm, so I wrote 5-striped. I only just realized while writing this chapter that spiritual items do not correspond exactly to realms, so it shouldn't be 5-striped. I have changed it to 3-striped. Their sparring session ended quickly, with Chun Xian emerging victorious once again. However, unlike the ring tournament during the previous election, this time Chun Xian defeated Wang Su relying purely on the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art. The Azure Sky Dragon transformation art truly lives up to its reputation as the strongest body refining cultivation technique. Amazing, Wang Su said with a touch of emotion. Upon hearing this, Chun Xian smiled modestly and said, "The Taishian true martial scripture is also very powerful. If we were to fight again, the outcome would be uncertain. Fellow Taoist Chun, let us fight again when there is an opportunity," Wang Su said while cupping his fists. "Certainly," Chun Xian replied. The two then left the vicinity. Wang Su returned, and Chun Xian also went back to his immortal cave. After returning, Chun Xian began to improve his divine sense. According to Chun Xian's own plan, around the time of the Ascension ceremony, his divine sense realm should be able to reach the perfection of the 4th realm, at which point he could begin to condense his nascent soul. A few days later, Chun Xian received a notification to gather at the Sect Plaza. The day of the competition was approaching, and they needed to head to the front lines. Chun Xian left his immortal cave and soon arrived at the plaza. Although only 10 Purple Mansion cultivators were participating in the competition, quite a few Purple Mansion cultivators had gathered at the plaza at this moment. They probably wanted to go watch the competition. The sect did not stop them. As long as not everyone left and turned the sect into an empty shell, it was fine. At the entrance of the main hall in the plaza, 3 junior brothers, "We will be leaving first. The sect is entrusted to you," Grand Elder Shun Xiao said, looking at the 3 nascent soul cultivators of the Cloud Sea sect. "With us in the sect, senior brother can rest assured." The 3 nodded and said. They were not going to the front lines together. Regardless, there still needed to be nascent soul cultivators remaining to guard the sect. After all, they had to be prepared for the unexpected. What if someone really took this opportunity to attack the sect? It is better to be safe than sorry. Therefore, no matter what happened, the Cloud Sea sect would always leave at least 1 nascent soul cultivator in the sect. This way, even if they encountered trouble they couldn't solve, there would still be 1 nascent soul cultivator to activate the sect's grand array, maintain it, and wait for the other nascent soul cultivators to return to the sect. After the nascent soul cultivators of the Cloud Sea sect finished chatting, Grand Elder Shun Xiao, the nascent soul cultivator of the Zhenwu sect, and the nascent soul cultivator of the Taishu sect prepared to leave. Grand Elder Shun Xiao took out a flying boat. The 3 of them, along with Chun Xian and the other 9, boarded the flying boat. Without saying anything more, they steered the flying boat towards the front lines. Some Purple Mansion cultivators from the Cloud Sea sect who intended to go to the front lines to watch the competition also drove their flying boats to follow behind. On these flying boats of theirs, there were also many core disciples of the Tao Foundation realm. As for the Spirit Sea realm and Qi Gathering realm disciples, you had better not go join in the excitement. Everyone should just cultivate properly, as improving your cultivation base quickly is more important. The front lines. During this period, countless flying boats flew back to the vicinity from all over. Chun Xian and the others also arrived at the Flying Sword sect on this day. Over the past half year, the Flying Sword sect had been very lively. Many disciples from the 3 sects of Yinhai had remained here. When the disciples of the 3 sects were free, many of them would go to guide the cultivation of the Flying Sword sect disciples. With more people, the disciples of the Flying Sword sect could often receive one-on-one guidance, and the Flying Sword sect disciples had benefited quite a bit. Their overall strength had improved somewhat. Flying Sword sect plaza. More than a dozen nascent soul cultivators from the 3 sects, along with countless disciples of the 3 sects, gathered here. Chun Xian and the 9 others stood in the middle of the plaza, and the surrounding disciples were watching them curiously. They all knew about the competition, so naturally, they understood that Chun Xian and his group must be the Purple Mansion cultivators who would ultimately represent the 3 sects in the competition. The nascent soul cultivators of the 3 sects also smiled and took this opportunity to announce to everyone present that Chun Xian and the others would be participating in the competition. Victory! 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 I don't know who started shouting the slogan first, but the surroundings of the plaza instantly erupted with enthusiastic shouts. Seeing this, the nascent soul cultivators of the 3 sects were all smiles. The morale is commendable. This is a good thing. They also had great confidence in Chun Xian and the others. Meanwhile, not far away, the situation at the Feng family, Wuji sect, and Qingming sect was similar to that of the Flying Sword sect. They had also selected 10 Purple Mansion cultivators and were likewise shouting slogans similar to victory. In the blink of an eye, the time arrived for the agreed-upon day of the competition. At the front lines, the cultivators of both sides stood facing each other from afar. The disciples of the 3 sects of Yinhai lined up on one side, while the cultivators of the Feng family, Wuji sect, and Qingming sect occupied the other. The 2 sides were separated by 100 zhang. Although they had decided not to go to war again, the atmosphere remained heavy, and an aura of slaughter permeated the air. Grand Elder Shinshao of the Cloud Sea sect stepped forward, his voice like a booming bell, spreading across the fields. Fellow Taoists, today, in accordance with our previous agreement, we will determine the Feng family's future in the Azure Cloud realm through 10 Purple Mansion cultivator matches. I hope you will honor your promise and not cause any more trouble. Opposite, a nascent soul cultivator from the Feng family chuckled and replied, "Since my Feng family has agreed, we will naturally honor our promise. However, if you lose, I also hope you can abide by your promise." A nascent soul elder of the Wuji sect interjected, his tone slightly softened. "Since it has been agreed to determine the outcome through competition, both sides will certainly honor the promise. We only hope that after today's battle, we can cease hostilities and avoid any further unnecessary casualties. That would be for the best." The nascent soul cultivators of the Zhenwu sect and the Taishu sect also said. Subsequently, Grand Elder Shinshao of the Cloud Sea sect swept his gaze across the opposing camp and finally landed on the 10 Purple Mansion cultivators of his own side, saying loudly, "There is no point in talking more. Let us see the truth in our skills. For the first match, who among you will fight?" As the voice fell, both camps fell silent. According to the competition rules they had previously discussed, there would be 10 matches in total, with the Feng family needing to send someone to the field first, and then the 3 sects of Yinhai would decide who to send to meet the challenge. Those who had fought one match could not fight a second one. After 10 matches were conducted in this manner, the winner would be determined. This rule was somewhat disadvantageous for the Feng family. They had to send people out first. If someone from the 3 sects of Yinhai recognized the person sent by the opponent, they could know some information in advance, and thereby choose a person with a higher chance of winning to fight. The Feng family also knew this rule was unfavorable to them. But since they were the ones who came, it was naturally impossible for them to take all the advantages. Moreover, this disadvantage was not particularly large. The competition ultimately depended on strength. The cultivators they selected were the elite among the elite of the Purple Mansion cultivators, and none would have any weaknesses that could be easily targeted. After Grand Elder Shinxiao's words fell, immediately, a Feng family Purple Mansion cultivator dressed in a green robe flew out from the opposite camp, landed in the field, and cupped his hands, saying, "Feng family's Feng Wuhan, I request the guidance of a fellow Taoist from the 3 sects of Yinhai." On the side of the Cloud Sea sect, after a brief discussion, a Purple Mansion elder from the Taishu sect stepped out with a calm expression. "Taishu sects, Zhao, Qian, please." The 2 stood facing each other. The surrounding disciples watching the battle held their breath, and countless eyes were focused on the field. The referees were jointly served by 1 nascent soul cultivator from each side. The Cloud Sea Sect's Grand Elder Shenshao and a nascent Soul Elder from the Feng family announced simultaneously. The first match begins. As soon as the words fell, Feng Wuhan and Zhao Qian moved almost at the same time. Spiritual energy surged around Feng Wuhan's body as he sacrificed a longsword magic treasure glowing with green light. The sword light was chilling as it pierced straight toward Zhao Qian. Zhao Qian summoned a bronze shield magic treasure for protection while simultaneously forming hand seals. The Taishu sect's unique Taishu sword chi condensed into form, transforming into several sword shadows that flickered between reality and illusion as they met Feng Wuhan's attack. Taishu sword chi is a top-tier Taoist technique. Only cultivators of the Taishu sect who have cultivated the spirit travel void scripture can unleash its full power. It is a type of sword chi condensed from divine sense and spiritual energy. Not only can it cause physical damage, but it can also inflict divine sense attacks. If one does not understand the Taishu sword chi, they are bound to suffer a hidden loss upon facing it for the first time. However, it was naturally impossible for the Feng family not to understand the Taishu sect. Feng Wuhan immediately steadied his mind, guarding against the divine sense attack of the Taishu sword chi. Boom! The sword light and sword chi collided, erupting with violent spiritual energy fluctuations and rolling airwaves. The two figures crossed paths, magic treasures and Taoist techniques flying frequently as the battle grew intense. The competition had officially begun. The battle between the two became increasingly fierce, and gradually, Zhao Qian began to gain the upper hand. Divine sense attacks were mixed into the waves of spiritual energy attacks, leaving Feng Wuhan unable to parry effectively. The Taishu sect's methods were indeed difficult to deal with. During the previous election, he had also witnessed the Taishu sect's methods. It was only because he cultivated the Cloud-Heaven observation technique and possessed a very powerful divine sense that he had no fear of the Taishu sect's methods. Of course, these methods did not represent invincibility. They were simply somewhat insidious. Whether one can win a battle depends on many levels. But as far as this match was concerned, Zhao Qian's strength and methods were slightly superior to his opponents. As time passed, Zhao Qian seized an opportunity and defeated Feng Wuhan in one move. The side of the three sects of Yinhai immediately erupted in cheers. Conversely, the morale on the opposite side plummeted. Starting off on the wrong foot was never a good sign. After returning, Feng Wuhan lowered his head and said with a guilty tone, "Elders, I am sorry, I lost. No matter, it is just one victory or loss. Return to your place." Although it was unknown what the Feng family's nascent soul cultivator was truly thinking, he did not verbally blame Feng Wuhan. Inside a clan like the Feng family, the structure was different from a sect. The Feng family only had elders and no grand elders. The several nascent soul cultivators were the elders. Next, the matches between the three sects and the Feng family continued. In the second match, a cultivator from the Wuji sect took the stage. The three sects of Yinhai sent out a Jinwu sect cultivator. After a fierce battle, the Jinwu sect cultivator ultimately achieved a narrow victory over the opponent. Having lost 2 matches in a row, the opposing nascent soul cultivator appeared unfazed, but the disciples below were indeed getting anxious. In the third match, a Qingming sect disciple took the stage. For this round, the three sects of Yinhai sent out another Taishu sect Purple Mansion cultivator, but unfortunately, they were ultimately defeated. The subsequent matches had their share of wins and losses. In the fourth match, a Cloud Sea sect disciple took the stage and lost. In the fifth match, a Taishu sect disciple took the stage and won. In the sixth match, a Cloud Sea sect disciple took the stage and won. In the seventh match, a Jinwu sect disciple took the stage and lost. In the eighth match, a Cloud Sea sect disciple took the stage and lost. In the ninth match, Wang Su of the Jinwu sect stepped onto the stage. Relying on the fierce body cultivator methods of the Taishan true martial scripture and exquisite martial arts techniques, he fought a bitter battle with his opponent for hundreds of rounds. He finally seized a flaw in his opponent and decided the victory with a single punch, securing another win for the three sects of Yunhai. By this point, the three sects of Yunhai had won 5 matches, while the Feng family had won 4. Only the final match remained. From the three sects of Yunhai, Chun Xian had not yet appeared, so whether the three sects of Yunhai could win depended entirely on him. Grand Elder Xin Xiao, who had witnessed Chun Xian's prowess, along with the 2 nascent soul cultivators from the Zhenwu and Taishu sects, already had smiles on their faces. They felt as if they could already see the victory of the competition. Since they presided over the selection, they actually had a ranking in their hearts regarding the strength of the 10 Purple Mansion cultivators, including Chun Xian. While their rankings might not be identical, they all tacitly placed Chun Xian in the first position. Although Chun Xian did not take action much during the selection, others might not have noticed, but these nascent soul elders had observed that Chun Xian not only cultivated 3 paths simultaneously, but had also achieved success in all of them. After seeing the defeat in the 9th match, the morale of the Feng family, Wuji sect, and Qingming sect had dropped to rock bottom. The expressions of the Feng family members were all quite unsightly. If they lost the final match, they would truly have no chance left. If they won, they would still have one more opportunity. When they were initially discussing the matches, they originally intended to set them at 3, 5, or at most 7 or 9 matches, always choosing an odd number to avoid tie. However, as the discussions went on, a Feng family nascent soul suggested 10 matches. If a tie occurred after 10 matches, then the 20 Purple Mansion cultivators from both sides would engage in a chaotic melee to determine the winner. The Feng family's proposal was naturally not without reason. The Feng family possessed an extraordinary combined attack sword formation. It was a trinity. If 3 Feng family disciples at the Purple Mansion perfection stage performed it, they could unleash nascent soul-level combat power. From the beginning, the Feng family wanted to fight in groups, but the others did not agree. Thus, they strongly requested that the matches be set to an even number, and finally, the competition was fixed at 10 matches. In this way, in the 1v1 matches, it would be best if they won directly, but if they couldn't, they could still gamble on a tie. As long as it was a tie and not a direct loss, the Feng family's sword formation could display its power during the melee, ensuring they would take the victory in the chaotic battle. In short, for the Feng family, an odd number of matches meant they would either lose directly or win directly. The risk was too great. If it were an even number, there was still a chance for a tie. And as long as there was a tie, they could achieve victory by relying on the Feng family's formation. Faced with their strong demand, the 3 sects of Yunhai finally agreed. The 3 sects of Yunhai had no information regarding the Feng family sword formation. After all, the Feng family's great emperor had attained the Dao not long ago, and intelligence on their family had not been fully revealed yet. For long-established emperor clans or holy lands, some news of their methods would have leaked out more or less, unless it was a secret method that had never been used before. Within the Feng family camp, Feng Tianming felt the pressure doubling at this moment. On their side, he was the person set to fight in the final match. At this moment, many eyes were turned toward him, including those of the Feng family's nascent soul elders. Though nothing was said, he could already sense it. In this match, he was only permitted to win, not to lose. If he lost, as the one who lost the final match, he might directly become a sinner of the Feng family. It's the final match. Fellow Daoists, please send out your person, Grand Elder Xinxiao said with a smile as he looked toward the opposite side. After speaking, Grand Elder Xinxiao looked at Chun Xian. Chun Xian nodded slightly and took a step forward first. For the final match, there was naturally no need to wait for the opponent to send someone out first. After Chun Xian stepped forward, Feng Tianming from the Feng family camp also stepped out. Feng Tianming stared intently at Chun Xian. In this battle, he absolutely could not lose, and he certainly would not lose. The 10th duel will begin. Grand Elder Xinxiao and the nascent soul from the Feng family announced together. As their voices fell, a cold light flashed in Feng Tianming's eyes as he struck first. His figure was like lightning, his palm carrying sharp true essence as he lunged straight for Chun Xian's face. There were also 4 Purple Mansion cultivator from the Feng family participating in this duel, and he was the strongest among them, being a dual cultivator of both law and body. He had always been extremely confident in his dual cultivation of law and body. At this moment, his strike utilized body cultivator techniques. If a cultivator practices qi refining without body refining, they're considered fragile in the eyes of a body cultivator. He intended to catch Chun Xian off guard and achieve a one-hit kill. Unfortunately, his wishful thinking was misplaced. Seeing Feng Tianming's assault, Chun Xian merely swayed his body slightly, easily avoiding it, and then struck back with a backhand palm. Azure Dragon Palm. The wind from the palm howled out, actually shaking Feng Tianming back several steps, causing the blood and qi in his body to churn. Idiot, did no one tell him that Chun Xian of the Cloud Sea sect is also skilled in body refining? The face of a nascent soul cultivator from the Feng family turned dark. For this duel, these nascent soul cultivators had made ample preparations, gathering all the information they could on the extraordinary Purple Mansion cultivator of the 3 sects of Yanhai. This included Chun Xian, even though Chun Xian had not broken through long ago and his reputation was not yet widespread. However, Chun Xian had formed a first-grade Purple Mansion, which made his reputation somewhat prominent. Furthermore, upon investigation, they also learned of Chun Xian's performance when they attacked the Flying Sword sect in the past. They knew this youth was not simple and had also cultivated the Azure Sky Dragon transformation art. In short, the information gathered by the Feng family recorded Chun Xian's situation. Although the content wasn't much, it clearly marked him as being skilled in body refining. Feng Tianming's performance suggested either he hadn't carefully read the investigation materials, or he felt that since Chun Xian had only broken through to the Purple Mansion for a year or two, he was nothing to fear. Either way, it was utterly foolish. Feng Tianming was horrified. He hadn't expected Chun Xian's strength to be so formidable that he fell into a disadvantage as soon as they exchanged blows. He indeed hadn't carefully read the materials investigated by the Feng family. After all, the materials didn't specify who would participate in the duel. They only collected data on Purple Mansion cultivator who might participate. Thus, the materials included hundreds of Purple Mansion cultivator. Feng Tianming hadn't finished reading them all, only carefully reviewing the data on those at Zifu perfection and the late stage of Zifu. The Feng family's data was incomplete. In their records, Chun Xian was only at the early stage of Zifu, having just formed his Purple Mansion. This was why Feng Tianming hadn't looked at Chun Xian's profile. Returning to the matter at hand, after being pushed back, Feng Tianming's heart tightened, and he immediately activated his life-bound treasure. Go! A flying sword flew out from his Purple Mansion, stabbing straight at Chun Xian with extreme speed and alarming power. Chun Xian maintained a calm and composed demeanor throughout. Seeing Feng Tianming strike, 3 Nine Heavens swords also flew out from his Purple Mansion. The 3 swords emerged together, sword qi crisscrossing, instantly knocking Feng Tianming's flying sword away. The next moment, the 9 Heavens sword shot towards Feng Tianming. Feng Tianming used another magic treasure to defend, while simultaneously recalling his life-bound treasure, looking for an opportunity to counterattack. Chun Xian would not give him the chance. From within his Purple Mansion, another 3 Nine Heavens swords flew out. 6 flying swords interlaced in the air, their sharp edges incomparably fierce, striking fear into the heart. Feng Tianming's expression changed as he quickly fell into a disadvantage. Now, let alone counterattacking, even self-preservation was difficult. The surrounding spectators were all very surprised upon seeing this. Who wouldn't know of the Cloud Sea sect's 9 Heavens sword? They hadn't expected Chun Xian to actually possess 6 Nine Heavens swords. No, perhaps he had more than 6 Nine Heavens swords, but with his current cultivation, he could only perfectly control 6. Smiles soon appeared on the faces of the people from the 3 sects of Yanhai. It was settled. This round was settled. It seemed they were certain to win this duel. I cannot lose. I absolutely cannot lose. Beaten into a continuous retreat, Feng Tianming suddenly gave a low roar, his hands forming seals as a blood-red light abruptly erupted around him. He resolutely performed a life-burning secret technique, sacrificing his own lifespan and essence blood in exchange for momentary power. In an instant, his aura surged, blood-colored patterns surfaced on his skin, and his eyes turned red as flames. His aura rose several times higher. "Ah!" Feng Tianming shouted hoarsely, his right fist clenched tight as he threw a full power punch forward. A massive blood-colored fist print condensed into form and howled out, making even the air tremble as it passed. This strike, after Feng Tianming's life-burning, already possessed the might of a nascent soul. The nascent soul cultivators of the Cloud Sea sect looked at Chun Xian with some concern. Chun Xian's gaze was calm. Facing this strike with the might of a nascent soul, he merely raised his right hand, and a wisp of purple flame suddenly rose from his palm. The moment the purple imperial dragon flame appeared, it transformed into a towering dragon shape. Roar! The purple imperial dragon flame let out a dragon's roar, its body swaying as it collided head-on with the blood-colored fist print. Boom! In a thunderous explosion, the two forces collided, and a terrifying shockwave swept out. Even the Purple Mansion cultivator felt it was somewhat terrifying, let alone those below the Purple Mansion, who all felt a sense of suffocation. The two forces clashed, and then the blood-colored fist print slowly dissipated under the burning of the purple flames. The purple imperial dragon flame held the upper hand. Chun Xian hadn't used any life-burning secret techniques or power-bursting methods. Feng Tianming's full power strike using the life-burning secret technique was quickly and completely dismantled before the overbearing and peerless destructive power of the purple imperial dragon flame. Immediately after, the purple flame broke through all obstacles and lunged straight for Feng Tianming. Feng Tianming was completely stunned. He hadn't expected his life-burning strike to be defeated so easily. Seeing the purple imperial dragon flame about to hit Feng Tianming, a nascent soul elder of the Feng family immediately acted, blocking the attack of the purple imperial dragon flame. Looking at the blocked purple imperial dragon flame before him, Feng Tianming understood he had lost. He stumbled to the ground, the bloodlight around him dissipating, his face as pale as paper. The side effects of the secret technique erupted, and much of his lifespan had been burned. He was now even too weak to stand. How? How could he be so powerful? Feng Tianming muttered bitterly to himself, unable to figure out why his Zifu cultivator's strength was so terrifying. Ha! Fellow Taoists of the Feng family, thank you for letting us win, Grand Elder Shunshao said with a great laugh. The face of the Feng family's nascent soul cultivator turned dark. However, the leading nascent soul cultivator of the Feng family still grit his teeth and said, "Rest assured, fellow Taoist, my Feng family will keep its promise and will not go back on its word. Within 3 days, the Feng family will withdraw from the 9 provinces continent." Good. I trust you, fellow Taoist. According to our previous agreement, the 5 sects will also assist your Feng family afterward. Grand Elder Shinshao stopped laughing and spoke solemnly. The other 4 sects also expressed their positions one after another, promising to provide full assistance. Then I thank you all, fellow Taoists. The Feng family nascent soul responded helplessly. Things had come to this, so it could only be so. At least the 5 sects were willing to help. They might not be unable to establish themselves in the endless sea. In any case, the orders from above were to take root and establish themselves in the lower realm. As long as they achieved that, it would be considered a completed mission. Though there was no merit, there was likely no fault either. After the martial competition concluded, the Feng family, the Wuji sect, and the Qingming sect led their people away, departing from the front lines. Once the people from the 3 factions had left, the 3 sects of Yinhai immediately cheered loudly. The nascent soul cultivators of the 3 sects were also extremely happy. The sect main hall of the Flying Sword sect. The nascent soul cultivators and the 10 individuals, including Chun Xian, arrived at the sect main hall. With the competition over, the next step was naturally to reward merit. Since they had won the competition, the nascent soul cultivators of the three sects decided to bestow rewards upon all 10 individuals, including Chun Xian. However, the reward for the 6 elders who had won their matches would be slightly better. You all performed very well this time. These are your rewards. Grand Elder Xinxiao spoke, and along with the other 2 nascent soul cultivators from the Zhenwu sect and the Taishu sect respectively, they each took out several storage rings. The storage rings flew before Chun Xian and the others, 1 for each person. The nascent soul cultivators did not state exactly what the rewards were. It was likely that the rewards were not entirely the same. After Chun Xian accepted the storage ring, he probed it with his divine sense. He was startled after seeing what was inside the storage ring. It was actually a spiritual fire. Although it was only a 4th grade one, the lowest tier, it was still a spiritual fire nonetheless. Spiritual fires were extremely rare throughout the entire Azure Cloud realm. Chun Xian calmly glanced at the others. At this moment, everyone else had more or less joyful smiles on their faces. Thank you, Grand Elder. Chun Xian and the others cupped their hands in thanks. The competition has ended. Among your previous rewards, you also received mind-settling pills and 3 patterned spiritual items. When you return to your sects, cultivate well, seize the time, and condense your nascent soul as soon as possible. The nascent soul cultivators of the 3 sects urged them again. Yes, Chun Xian and the others replied. Over the next period of time, the disciples of the 3 sects within the Flying Sword sect left one after another, and the 3 sects of Yinhai each sent nascent soul cultivators to the location of the Feng family to discuss the matter of assisting them. The agreement to assist the Feng family was not a joke. As long as the Feng family did not come to the 9 provinces continent and did not touch their interests, there was no harm in helping them out. Since things had reached this point, they might as well pull the Feng family onto their chariot and bring them into the previous alliance of the 5 sects. In this way, they would not allow other sects subordinate to imperial clans or holy lands to enter and dominate the Azure Cloud realm in the future. Cloud Sea Sect. Chun Xian returned to his loyal sect. After returning, Chun Xian couldn't wait to go back to his immortal cave. Immediately after, Chun Xian summoned the Purple Imperial Dragon Flame. Your Dao technique, Purple Imperial Dragon Flame, is currently spinning in circles in anxiety. Quick, 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 let me have a taste. Chun Xian. That is a spiritual fire, not smoke. And you want to take a sip? As Chun Xian spoke, he took out that storage ring. He then immediately released the spiritual fire from inside the storage ring. The moment the spiritual fire appeared, the entire immortal cave was illuminated by a soft and pure radiance. It resembled a slowly blooming lotus flower. The outer layer was a gentle, pale cyan, while the inner part condensed a blazing golden light. It floated quietly in midair, emitting majestic and vast fluctuations of spiritual energy. Unlike the domineering, destructive aura of the Purple Imperial Dragon Flame, the existence of this spiritual fire appeared pure, containing abundant vitality and the pure origin of fire. The second the Purple Imperial Dragon Flame saw the spiritual fire, the light in the eyes of the purple fire dragon flared brightly. It swung its dragon body, opened its massive maw, and swallowed the cyan gold spiritual fire lotus in one gulp. Your Dao technique, Purple Imperial Dragon Flame, is devouring a 4th grade spiritual fire. Once the spiritual fire entered its body, the dragon form of the Purple Imperial Dragon Flame instantly became incomparably solid, and purple flames surged and swelled across its entire body. Chun Xian carefully observed the transformation of the Purple Imperial Dragon Flame and could clearly see the cyan gold spiritual fire origin struggling violently within the purple dragon body, attempting to resist being devoured. A 4th grade spiritual fire already possessed faint intelligence. It was no ordinary item. It was a pity, however, that the Purple Imperial Dragon Flame, relying on its own extraordinary nature, coupled with Chan Xian's purple mansion perfection cultivation, firmly suppressed it and had already begun to refine the origin of this spiritual fire. Time passed bit by bit. The color of the purple dragon flame began to undergo a metamorphosis. The originally pure and domineering deep purple gradually took on a layer of noble, pale gold luster. The temperature of the flames did not suddenly soar. Instead, it became more restrained and profound. The form of the flame became increasingly agile and majestic. Details like the dragon scales, dragon claws, and dragon whiskers became clearer, as if it were a true dragon of flame. After an unknown amount of time, as the last trace of the spiritual fire origin was completely refined and absorbed, the body of the purple imperial dragon flame shook violently, officially advancing into a fourth-grade spiritual fire. Your Dao technique, purple imperial dragon flame, has successfully devoured a fourth-grade spiritual fire. The origin of your Dao technique, purple imperial dragon flame, has been greatly enhanced. Your Dao technique, purple imperial dragon flame, has successfully advanced to a fourth-grade spiritual fire. After the transformation of the purple imperial dragon flame, it began to provide feedback to Chen Xian. Although Chen Xian was already at purple mansion perfection, he still felt that his physical body and spiritual energy had strengthened significantly. Secondly, there was his divine sense. Originally, Chen Xian's divine sense realm was still at the early stage of the fourth realm. After receiving the feedback, it had already improved to the middle stage of the fourth realm. This would certainly save Chen Xian some cultivation time. After the transformation of the purple imperial dragon flame, Chen Xian did not let it go out to roam anymore. The main reason was that the purple imperial dragon flame had already advanced to a spiritual fire. To become stronger in the future, devouring ordinary fire would be useless. Ordinary fire could no longer make it undergo metamorphosis, and it could only devour spiritual fire. However, the Azure Cloud Realm was, after all, only a minor thousand worlds, and it was too difficult for the purple imperial dragon flame to find spiritual fire. It was better to honestly stay in the immortal cave and practice alchemy. After waiting for the ascension ceremony in half a year and ascending to the upper realm, he would then let the purple imperial dragon flame go out to search for spiritual fire. In the following time, Chen Xian began to improve his divine sense realm, while his divine sense realm was steadily improving. On the other side, the 5 top sects, including the Cloud Sea sect, had already begun to assist the Feng family in heading to the Endless Sea. During this period, many Purple Mansion elders and core disciples in the Tao Foundation realm from the 5 sects accepted the mission and headed out. The mission to assist the Feng family was voluntary, and the rewards were very generous. In addition, for missions like this that involved expanding territory, the gains made during the mission could also belong to them. So even though it was relatively dangerous, many people still participated in this mission. However, this had nothing to do with Chen Xian. Since returning, Chen Xian had been in seclusion. He could not possibly go and do this mission. 3 months after returning to the sect, on this day, Chen Xian suddenly felt an unusual movement within his spirit pet ring. Chen Xian immediately probed it with his divine sense and saw that the blood pool within the spirit pet ring had turned into a turbid pool of water, and the stone egg in the pool was currently trembling violently. Is it about to hatch? Chen Xian watched the situation inside the spirit pet ring with anticipation. As time passed, the stone egg emitted a cracking sound. Immediately following that, a crack appeared, and cracking sounds rang out one after another as the crack grew larger and larger. Slowly, the stone of the stone egg shattered and fell away. From within the stone egg, the appearance of that spirit pet was officially revealed. It was a small golden monkey. After the shell of the stone egg completely shattered, the little monkey stood up and stretched. "This a stone, a monkey?" Chen Xian couldn't help but feel a bit surprised. This reminded him of an old friend. With a thought, Chen Xian released the monkey from the spirit pet ring. After the monkey came out, Its lively eyes immediately looked at Chun Xian, and then it showed a joyful expression, jumping into Chun Xian's arms and rubbing against his chest. The spiritual connection contract had been completed before the stone egg hatched, so the little monkey was extremely close to Chun Xian. It completely treated Chun Xian as family. Chun Xian was also very happy as he stroked the monkey's head. Monkeys are good. This little golden snub-nosed monkey is truly beautiful. After his initial joy, Chun Xian activated the heavenly observation divine eye to carefully examine the monkey's condition. It hadn't hatched before, so he only knew this spirit pet had a powerful bloodline, but he couldn't be certain what kind of bloodline it was. The divine eye opened. Chun Xian soon saw the monkey's origin bloodline clearly. My God, a sacred beast bloodline and even emperor blood. With this level of emperor blood concentration, could it be an emperor's son? Chun Xian was incredibly shocked after seeing the monkey's origin. There is no need to say more about the sacred beast bloodline. It was equivalent to a cultivator's saint body. As for the emperor blood, it meant that this little monkey's ancestors included a great emperor. Moreover, the little monkey's emperor blood was extremely concentrated. It was very likely that he was the biological son of a Yao race great emperor. Just who was the master of that ruin? Where did they get the egg of a Yao race great emperor? If this Yao race great emperor wasn't dead and this little monkey was exposed, things would get out of hand. No, before things were cleared up, this little monkey couldn't be used lightly. If he could see the little monkey's condition through the heavenly observation divine eye, others surely could as well. This little monkey could only be kept as a trump card that couldn't be used easily. Furthermore, the little monkey was still too weak, only a first-rank Yao beast. It really couldn't help him much. However, with this little monkey's aptitude, its strength would improve quickly. You little fellow, I don't know your origin, so I'll have to trouble you to cultivate secretly inside the spirit pet ring for now. Chun Xian teased the monkey. But just being in the spirit pet ring wasn't safe enough. Fortunately, he knew one thought seals the heavens. Chun Xian then placed many restrictions on the spirit pet ring, with the primary effect of isolating outside perception. This ensured the spirit pet ring wouldn't leak the little monkey's aura, preventing powerful cultivators from noticing it. At the same time, he placed the same restrictions on all his storage magic treasures. If he only placed restrictions on the spirit pet ring, it would inevitably seem like he was trying to hide something. Furthermore, once set up, as long as a powerful cultivator didn't specifically inspect his storage magic treasures and spirit pet ring, they wouldn't discover these restrictions. These methods might not be foolproof, but with his current means, this was the best he could do. He still needed to figure out this little fellow's origin as soon as possible. From now on, you'll be called Great Sage. After naming the monkey, Chun Xian played with it for a while. Then he sent the monkey back into the spirit pet ring to cultivate. Yao beasts are different from a human race. They don't need to learn any cultivation techniques. Yao beast bloodlines naturally come with a bloodline legacy. Given Great Sage's origin, the legacy within its bloodline was incredibly powerful. There is no need for him to worry about its cultivation. Great Sage could cultivate on its own. In fact, because of its powerful aptitude, Great Sage didn't even need cultivation resources, and its cultivation speed was already lightning fast. During the following period, Chun Xian took some time to visit the library pavilion and looked through many books. He was researching Great Sage's origin, mainly looking for information on great emperors of the monkey race and whether there was an organization named Xianshu. Back in the ruins, the token he obtained after defeating the puppet was engraved with the two words Xianshu. Chun Xian guessed that the master of the ruins might have come from a sect called Xianshu. No, it should be called the Holy Land. That volume of emperor scripture was also called the Xianshu creation scripture. He found that the names of emperor scriptures from holy lands usually included the name of the Holy Land itself. This was true for the Cloud Sea Holy Land's 9 Heavens Cloud Sea Scripture, the Jinwu sect's Taishian True Martial Scripture, and the Taishu sect's Spirit Travel Void Scripture. Therefore, He guessed that the master of the ruins came from a place called the Xian Shu Holy Land. Unfortunately, he searched all over the library pavilion, but found nothing. Perhaps the information here was too sparse. He might have a chance to find out once he reached the upper realm. But before that, he planned to ask Uncle Master's son again, the Grand Elder of Dan Shao. He naturally wouldn't ask directly about the monkey. He intended to ask about Xian Shu. After all, since he had sold the Xian Shu creation scripture, it was reasonable for him to be curious and want to learn more. After Chen Xian arrived at Uncle Master's son's small courtyard, Uncle Master's son asked, "You're not preparing to condense your nascent soul, so why have you come to see me?" "Junior Martial Uncle, there's no rush. I plan to wait until after the ascension ceremony to condense my nascent soul." Chen Xian shook his head and said, based on his current estimate of his cultivation speed, it would take another 2 months to raise his divine sense realm to 4th rank perfection. By then, there would only be 1 month left until the ascension ceremony. Condensing a nascent soul is no small matter. His cultivation technique had achieved spirit awakening, so a breakthrough would be easy, but he was worried that the 9-layer heart demon tribulation might be time-consuming, and it would be bad if he missed the ascension ceremony. So he planned to make the breakthrough after the ascension ceremony. That's fine. The heart demon tribulation is no small matter, so it's right to prepare more. "So, what did you come to see me for?" Uncle Master's son nodded and asked, "I recently thought about that volume of Emperor scripture I sold to the sect, and I suddenly became curious about which holy land or family it came from. If I ascend to the upper realm in the future and encounter that holy land or family, will there be any trouble? Do you know anything, Junior Martial Uncle?" Chen Xian had already prepared a specific excuse before coming. Uncle Master's son heard this and said, "You don't need to worry about that. Although I don't know which power the Xian Shu creation scripture comes from, I am well aware of the existing great emperor powers in the Hunyuan world. This Xian Shu creation scripture definitely does not come from any of the currently existing great emperor powers in the Hunyuan world. It probably comes from some destroyed holy land or emperor clan. I don't know the specifics. Anyway, you don't cultivate this technique, so it won't affect you in any way. Rest assured." Chen Xian nodded with a look of relief upon hearing this. Then, as if taking the opportunity, he asked, "Junior Martial Uncle, how many great emperor powers are there in the Hunyuan world?" "Quite a lot." Uncle Master's son immediately began telling Chen Xian about the situation of the great emperor powers in the Hunyuan world. Chen Xian was mainly listening for which ones were Yao race powers. However, after listening, he didn't hear Uncle Master's son mention any great emperor power of the monkey race. Nor did he hear of any monkey race great emperor. Perhaps there was one, but great sage's great emperor father had already fallen, and the forces under him had either completely perished or were no longer what they used to be. Regardless of which it was, Chen Xian felt much more at ease. He didn't want to end up with a great emperor as an enemy one day after ascending to the Hunyuan world. Not long after, Chen Xian left Uncle Master's son's small courtyard. Although he still hadn't figured out the specific details, he had at least learned a few things. He would just have to take it one step at a time. Regardless, he could not easily expose Dashing. Otherwise, just Dashing's sacred beast bloodline would be enough to make people envious and come to snatch his spirit pet. After returning, Chen Xian continued to cultivate. 2 months later, Chen Xian's divine sense realm had improved to the perfection of the 4th realm. Dashing had been cultivating on its own for 2 months and had already successfully completed foundation establishment and was even close to reaching the Purple Mansion realm. Honestly, it made Chen Xian extremely envious. The aptitude of his sacred body combined with emperor blood was simply too terrifying. It didn't need any resources, yet was already about to reach the Purple Mansion realm. This was even faster than his own cheating cultivation speed. Who could he complain to about this? Furthermore, although the Yao race did not practice qi refining and only cultivated their physical body. However, the Yao race was very similar to the human race's body cultivator, and their realms also had 15 levels, with each realm being similar to the human race's. When Dasheng cultivated to the 3rd rank, it also needed foundation establishment. Daxing's aptitude was much stronger than Chen Xian's, and it had directly completed heavenly Dao foundation establishment without using any heavenly Dao Qi. In the last month before the ascension ceremony, Chen Xian began to cultivate Dao techniques. Time passed quickly, and a month went by just like that. Chen Xian's purple Qi from the east had already reached major achievement on its own, and 10,000 B spirit communication had also reached minor achievement. On this day, the Yunhai bell rang. Zong, 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 zong. The bell rang 5 times in succession, echoing throughout the sect. Chen Xian rose and walked out of his room, muttering to himself, "Has the time come?" He had been waiting for this day for quite some time. He just hoped everything would go smoothly and he could proceed directly to the Hunyuan world. Chen Xian left his immortal cave and headed to the sect plaza. By the time he arrived, the sect plaza was already packed with people. All 9 nascent soul grand elders were present, and basically all the Purple Mansion cultivator had come as well. It could be said that 99% of the sect's cultivators were gathered here at this moment. After everyone arrived, the grand elders maintained order, quietly waiting for something. Chen Xian also waited silently after arriving. Time passed, and suddenly a boom came from the sky. Everyone looked up, and a giant flying boat descended from above, breaking through the air. The flying boat landed slowly, and soon, a few people flew down from it. There were 9 people in total: 3 nascent soul cultivators, 3 Purple Mansion cultivator, and 3 Dao Foundation cultivators. The people of the Cloud Sea sect were all sizing up the other party. Chen Xian was no exception. He mainly sized up the 3 Purple Mansion cultivator and the 3 Dao Foundation cultivators. The 3 Dao Foundation cultivators were all heavenly Dao Foundation establishment, and the 3 Purple Mansion cultivator were all first-grade Purple Mansion. As expected of people from the upper realm, presumably those 3 nascent soul cultivators wouldn't be bad either, and it was possible they were also first-grade nascent soul. 3 junior brothers, long time no see. The nascent soul cultivators of the Azure Cloud Realm's Cloud Sea sect were extremely happy to see those 3 nascent soul cultivators. Greetings, senior brothers. The nascent soul cultivators from both sides began to chat enthusiastically. It seemed that both sides knew each other. Many people from the Cloud Sea sect watched this scene with curiosity. Some elders who knew those 3 nascent soul cultivators explained that these 3 were originally disciples of our Azure Cloud Realm's Cloud Sea sect. They had all cultivated to nascent soul within the last 100 years and then ascended. Hearing this, everyone understood why the Grand Elders knew those 3 nascent soul cultivators from the upper realm. After exchanging pleasantries, both sides got down to business. I announced that the ascension ceremony has officially begun. Grand Elder Shun Xiao announced loudly, then looked at the 3 nascent soul cultivators from the Divine Sea realm. The nascent soul cultivator, surnamed Zhang, stepped forward. Fellow junior brothers and junior sisters, the first of the 3 tests for the ascension ceremony is the aptitude test. King Body disciples, please step forward to be tested. After the nascent soul cultivator, surnamed Zhang, finished speaking, he immediately took the 10,000 Dao tablet out of his storage pouch. The 10,000 Dao tablet landed on the sect plaza. Immediately after, several people in the crowd stepped forward. There were Dao Foundation realm and Purple Mansion realm, and among the Purple Mansion realm, there were people familiar to Chen Xian. In the previous competition, 4 people from the Cloud Sea sect were selected, and 2 of them were among them. In fact, in the 100 years of the Cloud Sea sect, there were more than just these few King Body disciples. It was just that some appeared early, cultivated to nascent soul within the 100 years, and then ascended on their own. The ascension ceremony was mainly prepared for lower realm disciples, whose aptitude was insufficient. As several people stepped forward, the nascent soul cultivator, surnamed Zhang, tested their physique one after another. The 10,000 Dao tablet flashed with light in turn, confirming that they were indeed king bodies. Immediately after, the nascent soul cultivator, surnamed Zhang, smiled and took out several tokens and handed them over. Congratulations to you, junior brothers and junior sisters. From now on, you are disciples of the Divine Sea Realm's Cloud Sea sect. Thank you, Uncle Master Zhang. No need to call me Uncle Master, just call me Senior Brother. In the Divine Sea Realm, we belong to the same generation. Yes, Senior Brother. All right, you may step aside for now. The nascent soul cultivator, surnamed Zhang, said to them, and soon the few king body disciples stepped aside. The first test ended just like that, simple, direct, and very fast. The next part would take some time, especially the second test, the comprehension ability test. Next is the second test, the comprehension ability test. Fellow junior brothers and junior sisters, there is no clear standard for the comprehension ability test. If you feel that your comprehension ability is superior in a certain aspect, you may come forward to demonstrate. The nascent soul cultivator, surnamed Zhang, smiled and looked at the crowd again. Uncle Master Sun's gaze was already fixed on Chun Xian. Chun Xian did not dawdle and stepped out directly. Everyone's eyes converged on Chun Xian. Within the Cloud Sea sect, there were many people who knew Chun Xian now. It could even be said that everyone in the sect basically knew him. It was mainly because of the competition half a year ago, which made Chun Xian famous in one battle. How should I address this junior brother? Senior Brother Zhang, I am Chun Xian. Chun Xian cupped his hands and said, Junior Brother Chun, I wonder in what aspect your comprehension ability is superior. Senior Brother Zhang asked. Senior Brother Zhang, my comprehension ability is quite good in terms of cultivation techniques and Dao techniques. I have cultivated the sex, cloud, sea, heaven observation technique and successfully cultivated the heavenly observation divine eye. Chun Xian said again, What? Heavenly observation divine eye? The 9 cultivators from the Divine Sea Realm, led by Senior Brother Zhang, were all a bit shocked. What kind of joke was this? The heavenly observation divine eye? Wasn't that something only a genius with a divine body could successfully cultivate? Ha ha, Junior Brother Zhang, don't disbelieve it. This kid really did cultivate it. Chun Xian, just go ahead and demonstrate it for your Senior Brother Zhang and the others. Uncle Master Sun said with a smile. His words were meant to support Chun Xian. Senior Brother Zhang and the others looked straight at Chun Xian. Chun Xian nodded, then immediately displayed the heavenly observation divine eye. His eyes instantly became brilliant with divine light flowing. This really seems to be the heavenly observation divine eye. How is this possible? Could it be that this person is actually a divine body? Impossible. How could a divine body be born in a minor thousand worlds? What if it were really a divine body, he would have stood out during the first aptitude test earlier? He is likely not even a king body. The few people from the upper realm disgust and surprise. Seeing the shocked expressions of those few, everyone from the lower realm's Cloud Sea sect unconsciously revealed a hint of proud and smug smiles. Senior Brother Zhang and the others were seeing Chun Xian's situation for the first time. Afterward, Senior Brother Zhang took out the 10,000 Dao tablet again, wanting Chun Xian to test his physique to see if he truly possessed a divine body. Chun Xian naturally had no objections and reached out to touch the 10,000 Dao tablet. Soon, the 10,000 Dao tablet glowed, revealing that Chun Xian only possessed a purple essence spirit body. It truly wasn't a divine body, nor was it even a king body. Astonishing, truly astonishing. A spirit body cultivator had cultivated the heavenly observation divine eye. Countless king body cultivators in the Divine Sea Realm had tried, but none had succeeded in cultivating it. The Cloud Sea Holy Land had come to a conclusion on this. The divine ability, heavenly observation divine eye, likely depended on aptitude. Only those with sufficient aptitude, meaning those with a divine body and good comprehension ability, could successfully cultivate it. Unexpectedly, a special case in the Azure Cloud realm directly broke this conclusion. Senior Brother Zhang and the 3 nascent soul cultivators exchanged glances. Without needing to say more, they all understood that this Chun Xian had to be brought up. Junior Brother Chun, congratulations, you have passed the test. Senior Brother Zhang said no more and handed Chun Xian a token. Thank you, Senior Brother. Chun Xian accepted the token and consciously stepped aside. The ascension ceremony's tests continued. Next, some who believed their comprehension ability was extraordinary stepped forward to demonstrate. Some successfully passed Senior Brother Zhang's tests and received tokens, while others failed. Although all three of them had ascended from the Azure Cloud realm, they could not act arbitrarily regarding the Ascension Ceremony tests. When they returned to the Divine Sea realm, the Cloud Sea sect of the Divine Sea realm would conduct a review-like process for those who ascended through the Ascension Ceremony. If someone was found to have insufficient comprehension ability, yet was brought to the Divine Sea realm through the Ascension Ceremony, the disciple who issued the token to such a disciple would be severely punished. Moreover, those with insufficient comprehension ability would be sent back to the lower realm. Therefore, even though the Divine Sea realm always allowed disciples related to the lower realm to preside over the Ascension Ceremony, it never worried about disciples abusing their power for personal gain. There's no concern about you acting selfishly. If you dare, it will only be a wasted effort, and you'll still face punishment. Don't even think about hiding it from the sect. How could the sect be deceived by a few nascent soul cultivators like you? If you really could hide it, then that's fine too. To be able to deceive the Cloud Sea sect of the Divine Sea realm and pretend to be a genius, in a way, that is also a type of genius. As long as one is a genius, no matter in what aspect, they are qualified to pass the Ascension Ceremony. As time passed, the second test of the Ascension Ceremony had also concluded. Approximately 100 people stepped forward to participate in the test, but only over 20 ultimately passed. These 20-odd people almost all passed the test by virtue of their extraordinary comprehension ability in areas such as alchemy, artifacts, formations, and talismans. The Ascension Ceremony soon began its third test. The third test was for strength. This was also why 3 Dao Foundation Realm and 3 Purple Mansion Realm cultivators had come from the upper realm. All Dao Foundation Realm and Purple Mansion Realm cultivators of the Cloud Sea sect could challenge these 6 individuals. As long as they won, they could pass the test. As for those below the Dao Foundation Realm, they had no opportunity to participate in the test. If they wished to, they should cultivate diligently and wait for the next Ascension Ceremony. However, one could also choose to challenge someone of a higher realm. If you could truly defeat an upper realm prodigy of a higher realm, then you would naturally pass the test. It's just that this possibility is very, very small. One cannot say it's completely impossible, but it's almost non-existent. As the third test began, people successively entered the arena to challenge the 6 cultivators from the upper realm. However, most ended in defeat. The strength of upper realm cultivators naturally goes without saying. Heavenly Dao Foundation Establishment, first-grade Purple Mansion, and even more proficient in divine abilities and daoarts. As time passed, the number of challengers went from many at first to gradually none. In the end, not a single person successfully challenged them. Uncle Master Sun and the others watched this scene without surprise. This was perfectly normal. The first test was for aptitude. Those with strong aptitude passed directly. The second test was for comprehension ability. Those with strong comprehension ability also passed. By the third test, those participating were disciples with insufficient aptitude and comprehension ability, although many had cultivated for many years in combat. But sometimes reality is like this. No matter how hard you cultivate, it can't compare to someone with outstanding talent who just practices casually. This ascension is quite good. A total of 30 people passed the Ascension Ceremony. Junior Brother Zhang, your junior brothers and junior sisters will need your care when they go to the Divine Sea realm in the future. Grand Elder Shinshao said with a smile, looking at Senior Brother Zhang and the 2 others. Several senior brothers, we will certainly take good care of our junior brothers and junior sisters. We are relieved to hear that. When will you depart for the upper realm? In 7 days, to give the junior brothers and junior sisters some time to handle matters in the lower realm. Did you all hear that? Go and handle your respective matters, and gather at the plaza again in 7 days. Grand Elder Shinshao said, looking at Chun Xian and the others. Thank you, senior brothers. Chun Xian and the others cupped their hands towards Senior Brother Zhang and the two others, thanking them. Go ahead. Senior brother Zhang and the two others smiled and nodded. They were not in a hurry to leave immediately. On one hand, it was to give Chun Xian and the others some time to handle their affairs in the lower realm. On the other hand, having returned after so long, they also wanted to stay in the Azure Cloud realm a bit longer. This was also one of the reasons the sect had them lead the team. In a way, this was a reward for them. If it weren't for the Ascension ceremony, it wouldn't be easy for them to descend to the lower realm. The Ascension ceremony soon officially concluded. Although it was an extremely important event for the Cloud Sea sect, it started quickly and ended quickly. The entire process didn't take much time. However, the subsequent impact was significant, with the entire sect discussing the matter of ascension. Chun Xian and the others quickly went to handle their miscellaneous affairs in the lower realm. Chun Xian, however, had no miscellaneous affairs, only going to tidy up the items in his immortal cave. Immediately after, he went to meet Uncle Master Sunday. Although he had only known Uncle Master Sun for a short time, Uncle Master Sun had given him a peak-grade magic treasure upon their meeting and had helped him quite a bit, which Chun Xian naturally remembered. Uncle Master Sun was also quite happy to see Chun Xian, feeling that Chun Xian was not someone who forgot his roots. Chun Xian, if you can truly ascend directly to the Cloud Sea Holy Land, cultivate well in the future. I hope our Azure Cloud realm can produce another figure who is half as powerful as our ancestral master. If you can cultivate to the upper 5 realms someday, that would truly bring us great honor. Uncle Master Sun said with some emotion at this moment. The ancestral master of the Cloud Sea Holy Land actually originated from the Azure Cloud realm, progressing step by step from a minor thousand worlds to the Hunyuan world, attaining the Tao and becoming an emperor. The Azure Cloud realm and Divine Sea realm were not originally their current names. They were renamed later to commemorate the ancestral master's attainment of the Tao and becoming an emperor. The words Yinhai were taken from the name of the Holy Land. The words Qing and Shen were taken from the name Jiuxiao, the ancestral master. Chun Xian did not say much upon hearing this. His goal was not merely to be half as powerful as some ancestral master. His goal was to become a great emperor or even achieve immortal ascension. All right, you don't have much time left in the lower realm. Go and attend to your business. Uncle Master Sun didn't say anything more after that, simply letting Chun Xian handle his own affairs. Uncle Master, then I shall take my leave. MHM. By the way, don't call me Uncle Master anymore. Just call me Senior Brother. That is, if you ever have the chance to return to the lower realm in the future. Uncle Master Sun said with a smile. All right, Senior Brother Sun. Chun Xian cupped his hands and called out with a smile. Senior Brother Sun waved his hand, shooing him away. After Chun Xian left Senior Brother Sun's small courtyard, he went to meet with Peak Master Yang Shoge, Elder Xie, and several other Purple Mansion cultivator. There wasn't much to exchange in terms of pleasantries. They just had a brief chat. Compared to these Purple Mansion cultivator, Chun Xian actually had a better relationship with Lu Yu of the Tao Foundation realm and Jiang Xiong and Li Junmo of the Spirit Sea realm. Chun Xian soon arrived at Lu Yu's immortal cave. Congratulations, Senior Brother Chun. From now on, you are a disciple of the upper realm. Lu Yu offered her congratulations with a somewhat affected manner. Junior Sister Lu, cultivate well. I hope there will be a day we meet again. Chun Xian wasn't in a joking mood this time, speaking with genuine sincerity. Hearing this, Lu Yu also nodded seriously. I will. Although Lu Yu's talent was average, she had obtained many resources from that ruin. Therefore, cultivating to the nascent soul realm would certainly not be a problem. After reaching the nascent soul realm, she could ascend to the divine sea realm on her own. If she then cultivated diligently in the divine sea realm and encountered some more opportunities, she might even reach the 10th realm and ascend to the Hunyuan world. If that truly happened, the two might actually have a day of reunion in the future. And it would be a reunion in the Hunyuan world. Senior Brother Chun, before you leave, could you give me some pointers? Lu Yu suddenly cupped her hands respectfully and asked. Pointers on what? Chun Xian asked, puzzled. Lu Yu replied, Purple Chi from the East. You exchange for this Taoist technique from a sect? I remember telling you, this technique is a great test of one's comprehension ability. Chen Xian asked with some surprise. Lu Yu smiled and said, Senior Brother Chun, don't look down on me. While I can't compare to you, my comprehension ability isn't bad at all. You didn't think that condensing a secret realm seal and refining a secret realm token would be simple, did you? The Taoist techniques required to condense a secret realm seal are also very difficult to master. From what I know, learning them to condense a secret realm seal and refine a secret realm token requires a very profound cultivation level. Most of the time, only nascent soul cultivators can master them. Even Purple Mansion cultivator rarely can. I mastered it while only at the Tao Foundation realm. My comprehension ability has never been poor, so I want to try. If I can learn Purple Chi from the East, I will definitely be able to go much further. Chen Xian was surprised to hear this, but then he sensed something was off. If what you say is true, then your comprehension ability regarding Taoist techniques is surely extraordinary. Why didn't I see you participate in the Ascension ceremony? Lu Yu explained, Senior Brother, I still have attachments in the lower realm. In fact, there should be others in the sect like me who were confident they could pass the Ascension ceremony, but chose not to participate. I want to wait a bit longer. I have no lack of resources before I cultivate to the nascent soul realm, so there's no need to rush to the upper realm. Once I reach the nascent soul realm and my attachments in the lower realm are resolved, I'll plan my ascension. Chen Xian understood after hearing this. Not everyone was like him, an orphan with no strings attached. In truth, among the other disciples participating in the ascension ceremony, many still had parents and relatives alive. It was just that they chose to seize the opportunity of the ascension ceremony. There was no right or wrong in this, only choices. Some chose to sever their ties with the mortal world, while others chose to leave no regrets. Chen Xian then agreed to give Lu Yu pointers. Immediately after, Chen Xian began to guide Lu Yu directly. Lu Yu kept asking questions, and Chen Xian answered them one by one. With his cultivation experience and his already spirit-awakened Purple Chi from the East, Chen Xian's guidance gave Lu Yu a sense of sudden enlightenment. This gave Lu Yu hope that she might actually learn Purple Chi from the East. If she truly could learn it, then even if her foundation could not be repaired, as her physique grew stronger and stronger, she would surely be able to cultivate to a higher realm. She would not give up on either repairing her foundation or improving her physique. It was just that since she currently had no clue how to repair her foundation, she could only pin all her hopes on Purple Chi from the East. 5 days passed in a row. Chen Xian guided Lu Yu for 5 days. He cleared up many of her doubts, and Lu Yu felt that before long, she might truly be able to learn Purple Chi from the East. Senior Brother Chun, thank you. Lu Yu finally offered Chen Xian her thanks. This thanks was not just for the pointers over the last few days, but also for their past cooperation in exploring the ruins. Without the resources from the ruins, and without Chen Xian, she might not have had enough confidence and courage to push for a higher realm. Junior Sister Lu, I must go. Until we meet again, if fate permits. Chen Xian said, cupping his hands. MHM. Lu Yu nodded, watching Chen Xian depart. As she watched Chen Xian's retreating back, Lu Yu's thoughts were somewhat chaotic. She didn't know when it had started, but Chen Xian's figure had already become imprinted on her heart. So, she had to succeed in cultivating Purple Chi from the East. She absolutely could not be trapped in the lower 5 realms. Lu Yu's thoughts gradually calmed and became resolute. Only 2 days remained. Chen Xian then went to see Jiang Qiang. Senior Sister Jiang, I'm about to leave for the upper realm. After some thought, I have a gift for you, to wish you a speedy breakthrough. As Chen Xian spoke, he took out a wisp of heavenly Dao Qi and gave it to Jiang Qiang. Heavenly Dao Qi was indeed precious, but after obtaining dozens of wisps at once in the ruins, he felt it was just so. Mainly, he had no use for it, and could only sell it for other resources later. Therefore, giving away 1 or 2 wisps of heavenly Dao Qi as a gift didn't pain him at all. His willingness to give Jiang Qiang a wisp of heavenly Dao Qi was also because she had helped him quite a bit and dasheng had been obtained through her. Even though Jiang Qiong didn't know dasheng's value, to him, he truly owed his acquisition of dasheng to her. So, Chen Xian thought to help Jiang Qiong speed up her foundation establishment a bit. As for the information about the heavenly Dao Qi in the heavenly Dao secret realm, Jiang Qiong could sell that to others later. I cannot take this. When Jiang Qiong saw Chen Xian giving her heavenly Dao Qi, she was startled and didn't dare to accept it. It was too valuable. Senior sister, say no more. Just take it. If you don't want it, then just throw it away. Chen Xian didn't explain further, directly stuffing the heavenly Dao Qi into Jiang Qiong's hands. Junior brother, thank you. Seeing that she couldn't refuse, Jiang Qiong could only offer her thanks gratefully. Senior sister, until we meet again. Chen Xian got up to say goodbye after chatting for a long time in Jiang Qiong's immortal cave. Until we meet again, Jiang Qiong nodded. Next, Chen Xian went to see Li Junmo. He also gave Li Junmo a strand of heavenly Dao Qi. He wasn't just giving it to anyone. He only intended to give it to Jiang Qiong and Li Junmo. On one hand, he was familiar with both of them, and they had helped him quite a bit. On the other hand, Chen Xian had received great opportunities for both of them. The stone egg from Jiang Qiong and the purple qi from the east from Li Junmo. For Chen Xian, the importance of the purple qi from the east was no less than the great sage. Having the purple qi from the east gave him the possibility of continuously strengthening his physique, which was too important for Chen Xian. After giving Li Junmo a strand of heavenly Dao Qi, Chen Xian met with several other disciples he knew. For example, Song Tao, who had sent him to the 100 Herbs Valley when he first joined the sect, or Shen Xinghe and others he had met during the Flowing Cloud trial, and Lu Lingxiao and others he had met at the Outer Sect Grand Competition. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. Chen Xian had already seen everyone he needed to see. On this day, Chen Xian arrived at the Sect Plaza early in the morning. The Sect Plaza was still very lively today, with many people from the sect who were close to Chen Xian and the others coming to see them off. There were also many disciples there just to watch the excitement. It could basically be said that, just like the day of the Ascension ceremony, everyone had arrived. The 9 people, including Senior Brother Zhang, also arrived at the plaza very quickly. At this moment, the 3 of them, led by Senior Brother Zhang, were saying goodbye to Senior Brother Sun and the others. Several senior brothers, after this parting, I fear there will be no day we meet again. Please take care of yourselves. The 3 senior brothers, led by Senior Brother Zhang, said while cupping their hands. The 3 junior brothers need not worry about us. Just strive to cultivate well and enter the middle 5 realms as soon as possible. We will certainly not fail the expectations of you senior brothers. After Senior Brother Sun and the others gave a few more instructions, hoping they would take care of Chen Xian and the others, they slowly ended the conversation. Senior brothers, farewell. The 3, led by Senior Brother Zhang, said their final goodbyes. Immediately after, Senior Brother Zhang took out the flying boat they had used when they first came down from the upper realm. Crossing worlds is not a simple matter. First of all, only cultivators of the lower 5 realms can enter the minor 1,000 worlds. Additionally, if one wants to come to the lower realm from the upper realm, it requires the blessing of great divine abilities or special methods. This flying boat was the key to their ability to descend to the lower realm. This was a spirit treasure specially designed for crossing worlds, named the World Crossing Boat. Above magical artifacts are magic treasures. Above magic treasures are spiritual artifacts, and above spiritual artifacts are spirit treasures. The value of a spirit treasure is extremely high. Of course, under normal circumstances, it is impossible for a nascent soul realm cultivator to activate a spirit treasure. However, the World Crossing Boat is a specially crafted spirit treasure. When activating it, one can rely on spirit crystals as an energy source, and nascent soul realm cultivators can at best be considered the pilots of the World Crossing Boat. Spirit crystals are a type of cultivation resource above spirit stones, and are common cultivation resources and currency for cultivators in the middle 5 realms. The world-crossing boat appeared above the plaza. Senior Brother Zhang looked at Chun Xian and the others and said, "Let's go up." Everyone nodded, flew up one after another, and landed steadily on the deck of the flying boat. Chun Xian looked back at Senior Brother Sun. Liu, Zhang Xiong, Li Junmo, and the others in the plaza met their gazes from afar and nodded slightly to each other as a final farewell. Senior Brother Chun, I will definitely ascend to the Hunyuan world. We will meet again at the Holy Land then. Liu thought to herself as she gazed at Chun Xian's figure. On the flying boat, Senior Brother Zhang, Chun Xian, and the others all cupped their hands one last time towards Senior Brother Sun and the others in the plaza, and Senior Brother Sun and his group returned the gesture. A moment later, the world-crossing boat was enveloped in a gentle yet immense spiritual light, and the formation runes inscribed on the hull lit up one by one, emitting a low hum. The surrounding air rippled slightly, and space seemed to be gently pushed aside by an invisible force. The hull gave a slight jolt, then steadily ascended, its speed gradually increasing, and it soon disappeared into the clouds. The figures in the plaza, and even the entire plaza and the Cloud Sea sect, rapidly shrank in Chun Xian's field of vision, eventually turning into a few blurred black dots, hidden among the mountains and mist. The flying boat continued to ascend, piercing through layers of clouds, and the scenery around them changed from clear green mountains and blue waters to a vast sea of clouds. Sunlight spilled over the clouds, reflecting 10,000 rays of golden brilliance. The world-crossing boat broke through the clouds, turned into a streak of light, and sped towards the end of the horizon, gradually disappearing into the depths of the azure sky. A light shield appeared on the world-crossing boat to resist the effects of crossing worlds. As time passed, the world-crossing boat had already passed through the world barrier of the azure cloud realm and arrived outside the world. And the appearance of this place outside the world was exactly the universe. So the azure cloud realm really is a ball. Suddenly someone exclaimed. Chun Xian also looked back. The world-crossing boat was getting further and further away, and they were finally able to see the appearance of the azure cloud realm clearly. Chun Xian was not surprised. After all, he had long understood what kind of world this was. The library pavilion of the Cloud Sea sect had records recording that the azure cloud realm was actually a ball. Everyone else actually knew this too, but learning it through books and seeing it with their own eyes while in the universe now felt completely different. Senior Brother Zhang looked at everyone with a smile and said, "Are you surprised to see the world you lived in for many years with your own eyes?" Some people nodded. It wasn't just surprise, it was mainly a feeling of being very shocked. Senior Brother Zhang and the others smiled and told them more about it. For example, not only was the azure cloud realm a ball, but the place where the Cloud Sea sect was located in the Divine Sea realm was actually also a ball, only that ball was several times larger than the azure cloud realm. Places similar to the azure cloud realm were called life planets. Chun Xian was also listening quietly. Some things had not been recorded in the library pavilion of the lower realm. As Senior Brother Zhang and the others spoke more and more, Chun Xian slowly gained a clear concept of what kind of world this was. It was clearly a Xuanhuan world, but in reality, this world could be said to be a universe. A Mine 1000 world was a galaxy, similar to the solar system of his previous life. The azure cloud realm could refer to the entire galaxy, while Qingyan star could specifically refer to the planet, and this planet was the main star of this galaxy, equivalent to the Earth of his previous life. A Middle Thousand world was a galaxy group composed of tens of thousands of galaxies, similar to the Milky Way of his previous life. Of course, although a Middle Thousand world has tens of thousands of galaxies, there are actually only 1,000 galaxies that possess life planets. The entire galaxy group could be called the Divine Sea realm. But the true core was still the life planet that served as the main star of the galaxy group, which was the God Sea star. Finally, 1,000 galaxy groups could form a star domain. But a star domain was not a major thousand world. A true major thousand world, such as the Hunyuan world, was actually composed of multiple star domains. And the cultivation environment of the main star of every star domain was already the best, capable of accommodating great emperors. To be more specific, the Divine Sea realm should belong to the primordial star field of the Hunyuan world. After Chun Xian clarified the situation of this world, he was also curious. It was clearly the architecture of a universe. So why did terms like minor thousand worlds, middle thousand worlds, and major thousand world appear? He asked senior brother Zhang and the others, but they weren't sure either. Anyway, for them, it was just a matter of terminology. From the time they learned about these things, these terms already existed. If one didn't want to call them minor thousand worlds and such, they could also use more accurate names. Qingyan Galaxy, Shanghai Galaxy, Primordial Starfield, and Hunyuan World. In short, the nomenclature didn't matter. Whether it was a galaxy group, or a star domain. What mattered were their primary stars. If one were to rank the primary stars, the primary star of a galaxy belonged to the lower grade primary stars, which could accommodate lower 5 realms cultivators. The primary star of a galaxy group belonged to the middle grade primary stars, which could accommodate both lower 5 realms and middle 5 realms cultivators. The primary star of a star domain belonged to the high-grade primary stars, which could accommodate all cultivators. Perhaps because the primary stars varied in strength, the older naming conventions like minor thousand worlds, middle thousand worlds, and major thousand worlds persisted. In addition, world barriers weren't exclusive to primary stars. Galaxies and galaxy groups under a star domain actually had world barriers to block high-tier cultivators. Back to the topic at hand. While everyone was chatting aboard the world-crossing boat, the world-crossing boat had already successfully left the galaxy where the Azure Cloud realm was located. Next, the world-crossing boat headed toward the location of God's Sea Star. It will take about a week to reach God's Sea Star. Go into the flying boat and find a room to settle in for now, Senior Brother Zhang said, looking at everyone. Senior Brother Zhang, it takes that long to get from Qingyan Star to God's Sea Star? It's fine for us using the flying boat, but if someone undergoes ascension on their own, wouldn't they have to float outside this vast, boundless world for several days to reach God's Sea Star? Someone asked curiously. No, ascending on one's own is different from crossing boundaries through special means. Those who ascend on their own are directly teleported to God's Sea Star, Senior Brother Zhang explained. Crossing boundaries through special means was, to some extent, equivalent to smuggling. Smuggling was naturally much more troublesome. In the time that followed, the world-crossing boat soon successfully left the Qingyun Galaxy. After leaving the Qingyun Galaxy, they arrived at the Shanghai Galaxy Group. A galaxy group consists of countless galaxies, yet there are more than just galaxies within a galaxy group. The territory of a galaxy group is extremely vast. Not only can one see many galaxies shrouded by world barriers, but there is also even broader space, the interstellar space directly belonging to the galaxy group. In this interstellar space that belongs to no single galaxy, but directly to the galaxy group, there are actually many planets. Besides the primary star, God's Sea Star, there are also many lower-grade, life-bearing planets. These lower-grade, life-bearing planets located in the starry sky of the galaxy group are different from the primary stars of galaxies. These lower-grade primary stars can accommodate middle 5 realms cultivators. The main reason the Azure Cloud realm cannot accommodate middle 5 realms cultivators is that the world barriers of Qingyun Star and the Qingyun Galaxy do not allow it. World barriers are things only possessed by galaxies and galaxy groups that have a primary life-bearing star, as well as the primary stars themselves. This is like a form of protection from the universe for these life-bearing planets. In the entire Hunyuan world, there are actually many life-bearing planets without world barrier protection. At the same time, these life-bearing planets are very easily destroyed and disappear into the universe. Of course, although lower-grade, life-bearing planets without world barriers can accommodate middle 5 realms cultivators, they are not suitable for the cultivation of middle 5 realms cultivators. Any middle 5 realms cultivator with some ambition who wants to cultivate to a higher realm would not go to a lower-grade, life-bearing planet. However, there are also some middle 5 realms cultivators who have given up on higher realms and only want to enjoy themselves, who might run off to a lower-grade life-bearing planet to be a local tyrant. After the world-crossing boat arrived at the Shunhai Galaxy Group, it continued flying toward the location of Godsee's star. Chun Xian and the others didn't spend all their time watching the sights of the universe. Most people went to cultivate. Some were still seeking out Senior Brother Zhang and the others to learn more about the situation of the Cloud Sea sect on Godsee Star. Among them, except for Chun Xian, who had the chance to go to the Holy Land through the Holy Land Ascension ceremony, the others had no hope. So for a long time in the future, they could only stay and cultivate at the Cloud Sea sect on Godsee Star. They might even stay there for a lifetime. Naturally, they wanted to learn more about the situation of the Cloud Sea sect on Godsee Star. In the blink of an eye, the world-crossing boat arrived before an incredibly massive planet. The giant planet ahead, interwoven with azure and emerald and shrouded in a faint halo, rapidly enlarged in their field of vision. Everyone on the deck, including Chun Xian, gazed intently at this Godsee star. It's so big, it really is several times larger than Qingyun star. Someone exclaimed in shock. Just as Senior Brother Zhang had said before, the volume of Godsee star far exceeded that of Qingyun star by several times. Furthermore, a middle-grade life-bearing planet was not just large. The cultivation environment inside the planet was also much better. Even across the distant starry sky, one could feel the majestic spiritual qi and boundless vitality contained within. Prepare to enter the world barrier. Senior Brother Zhang's voice rang out as he looked at Chun Xian and the others and gave a word of caution. A world barrier has three main characteristics. Take Godsee Star's world barrier as an example. The first characteristic is that it constantly protects Godsee Star. The second characteristic is that it automatically repels upper 5 realms cultivators from entering. If a Nirvana cultivator inside makes a breakthrough to the upper 5 realms, they will also be repelled out. The third characteristic is that it is easy to leave but hard to enter. For instance, a 10th realm Nirvana realm cultivator among the middle 5 realms can directly undergo ascension and leave from where they are. But if they want to go back in the future, it will be difficult. This was why Senior Brother Zhang and the others, despite their cultivation being in the lower 5 realms, still had to use a specialized world-crossing boat to go to Qingyun Star. Without a world-crossing boat, even if their cultivation was within the capacity of a lower-grade primary star, they couldn't enter a lower-grade primary star that had a world barrier. In short, crossing a world barrier is only normal when one's cultivation reaches the nascent soul realm or Nirvana realm, and they undergo ascension to leave. Everything else is smuggling and requires special means. Hearing Senior Brother Zhang's words, Chun Xian and the others all made some mental preparations. Immediately after, the formation runes engraved around the world-crossing boat lit up one by one, emitting a spiritual light even more intense than when they crossed the azure cloud realm. The bow of the boat aimed at Godsee Star, and its speed did not slow down. Instead, with a steady and firm posture, it crashed toward that layer of world barrier that was difficult to detect with the naked eye, but truly existed. Buzz, the hull of the boat shook slightly, and ripples like water waves rose in the space outside the light shield. It was similar to when they left the azure cloud realm, but the resistance of crossing seemed even more apparent. Chun Xian could feel the slight fluctuations in the surrounding air and the low hum transmitted when the world-crossing boat's formations were operating at full power. Being in the middle of the universe, such shaking of the flying boat was indeed enough to make one's heart skip a beat. No wonder Senior Brother Zhang had to give a reminder. This process lasted for about 15 minutes. With a faint sound, the world-crossing boat successfully entered the world barrier of Godsee Star. In an instant, a dense aura of heaven and earth spiritual qi rushed toward him, its purity and abundance far exceeding that of the azure cloud realm. After the world-crossing boat entered Godsee Star, its protective shield slowly dissipated. This surge of spiritual energy poured directly into the flying boat. Chun Xian took a deep breath, feeling his pores open throughout his body. The circulation of spiritual energy within him even accelerated slightly. Your cultivation technique 9 heavens cloud, sea scripture trembles with excitement. Thought, refreshing. So refreshing. What kind of place is this? How can the spiritual energy be this dense? What kind of miserable life was I living before? Hurry up and break through. I want to cultivate. Chen Xian looked at the light screen appearing before him, a smile playing on his face. This was only the beginning. If everything went smoothly, he should be able to head directly to the Cloud Sea Holy Land. Once at the Cloud Sea Holy Land, that would be the true holy land for cultivation. The flying boat began to descend, passing through layers of mist and clouds. The scenery below gradually became clear: mountains, rivers, forests, and grasslands. As far as the eye could see, it was a land misty with spiritual chi. After entering God's Sea Star, the flying boat continued toward the location of the Cloud Sea sect. As the flying boat descended, they could slowly make out the situation below. Chen Xian and the others observed the vastness and prosperity of God's Sea Star, which caused those from the Azure Cloud realm to marvel inwardly. They even saw that the density of spiritual chi in some mortal cities was comparable to that within the Cloud Sea sect of the Azure Cloud realm. The place with the densest spiritual chi in the Azure Cloud realm could only be described as insignificant within God's Sea Star. God's Sea Star could be divided into 5 major regions, named after the East, South, West, North, and Central domains. We are currently located in the Central region of God's Sea Star. The sect is also in the Central region. It will take another half-day to reach the sect. Junior brothers and junior sisters, you may take a short rest or enjoy the scenery along the way. Senior brother Zhang explained to everyone while controlling the flying boat to adjust its direction. The world-crossing boat then flew steadily through the high skies of God's Sea Star's central region. Its speed was extremely fast, yet it seemed far more leisurely and composed than when it was traversing through the universe. Along the way, they saw many cultivators riding various types of flying magical artifacts or flying by their own evasion lights. Most of their cultivation auras were not weak. Dao Foundation, Purple Mansion, and Nascent Soul experts were everywhere. From time to time, other standardized or ornate flying boats crossed paths in the sky, demonstrating the prosperity of this realm's cultivation civilization. After about 2 hours, an extremely majestic mountain range appeared on the horizon ahead. Clouds and mist swirled within the mountains, with rays of light faintly visible. Countless high peaks pierced through the sea of clouds, while pavilions and palace complexes were built along the mountainsides, shimmering with spiritual light under the sun. Most prominent were 9 exceptionally tall and magnificent main peaks, distributed in a profound array formation. These were likely the Yunhai 9 peaks of the God Sea Star's Cloud Sea sect, and their scale and aura far surpassed those of the Qingyun Star's Yunhai 9 peaks. We've arrived. That is the mountain gate of the Divine Sea Realm's Cloud Sea sect. Senior brother Zhang pointed to the mountain range and spoke with a smile. The world-crossing boat began to slow down as it entered the sect, descending toward a massive white jade plaza suspended between several main peaks. Several figures were already waiting on the plaza, all of them cultivators dressed in Cloud Sea sect attire. Their auras were deep, clearly indicating they held significant status. The flying boat landed slowly, finally coming to a steady halt at the edge of the plaza. Senior brother Zhang and his 2 companions led the group of cultivators off the flying boat. Junior brothers and junior sisters, follow me off the boat. Senior brother Zhang looked at Chen Xian and the others and said. Upon hearing this, Chen Xian and the others walked off the world-crossing boat one by one with excited hearts. Senior brother Zhang and the other 2 led them to the several cultivators waiting on the plaza. Greetings, senior brothers. Senior brother Zhang and the other 8 cupped their hands and called out. Seeing this, Chen Xian and the others also cupped their hands in greeting. Junior brother Zhang is indeed reliable. Out of the 1,000 world-crossing boats that departed together, you and your group are the first to return. The leading cultivator said with a smile. Senior brother overpraises me. Senior brother Zhang smiled modestly, handed over a jade slip, and said again, "Senior brother, let's attend to official business first." Very well. The other party took the jade slip. This jade slip recorded the detailed information of those from Qingyun Star who had passed the ascension ceremony, including how they passed it. Everything was recorded within. The other party took the jade slip and scanned it with his divine sense. Immediately afterward, a look of shock appeared on his face. "Who is Chun Xian?" The other party cried out in surprise. The others who had come with Chun Xian silently looked toward him. Chun Xian stepped forward and cupped his hands, saying, "Senior brother, I am Chun Xian." "Senior brother, what's wrong?" The other Cloud C sect disciples waiting on the plaza were somewhat puzzled and surprised, not understanding why he reacted this way. The disciple who called Chun Xian's name did not reply. He simply stared at Chun Xian and asked, "Did you truly develop the heavenly observation divine eye?" Chun Xian knew this was what the question would be about. Without saying much, he directly activated the heavenly observation divine eye. Senior brother can see for himself. When the crowd heard their conversation and saw Chun Xian's heavenly observation divine eye, they were stunned. The several people opposite them were all startled. What? Heavenly observation divine eye? A divine physique has appeared from Qingyun Star. It might even be a saint physique. As expected of the ancestral master's birthplace, it truly is a place of spiritual excellence. What divine physique? This kid doesn't have a divine physique. The man who had read the jade slip shook his head and said. The air instantly became silent. Senior brother, don't joke. Without a divine physique, how could he possibly cultivate the heavenly observation divine eye? Junior brother Zhang checked it personally, so he surely wouldn't joke about this. This won't do. The rest of you stay here. I'm going to report this to the sect master. The leader said. With that, he left in a hurried fluster. The others gathered around Chun Xian, eyeing him curiously. Junior brother Chun, do you really not have a divine physique? I do not. That's impossible. The Holy Land elders have said that to cultivate the heavenly observation divine eye, at the very least, one needs a divine physique. I don't know what's going on either. Soon, the person who went to call the sect master returned. He was accompanied by a spirited old man. The old man's figure flashed, and he appeared directly in front of Chun Xian. His eyes stared fixedly at Chun Xian's heavenly observation divine eye, which had not yet been deactivated. It is indeed the heavenly observation divine eye. The old man murmured to himself, then took out the 10,000 Dao tablet and tested Chun Xian's physique. Although he believed senior brother Zhang and the others for something like this, he had to test it personally. Not just him. Even if Chun Xian truly entered the Cloud Sea Holy Land, the people there would certainly test him again. After all, this was the first time such a situation had occurred. Anyone who encountered it wouldn't dare believe it. A genius, a true genius. The old man marveled after finishing the test. Sect master, don't get too excited. With this junior brother's aptitude, he is definitely going to the Holy Land. Moreover, he'll be going to the Holy Land right after this ascension ceremony. It has nothing to do with us. The man who had called the sect master over suddenly spoke up. Sect master, would it kill you to keep your mouth shut? The other's words instantly dampened most of the sect master's excitement. Not possessing a divine body, yet he cultivated the heavenly observation divine eye. Chun Xian is undoubtedly a genius among geniuses. It is just a pity that it has little to do with their Cloud C sect on God C Star. The only role they played was bringing Chun Xian from Qingyun Star to God C Star. If Chun Xian had been brought here 100 years ago and had cultivated the heavenly observation divine eye within these 100 years, that would have been great. In that case, the Cloud C sect on God C Star would have greater merit. Secondly, and most importantly, Chun Xian's feelings for the Cloud C sect on God C Star would also be deeper. If Chun Xian achieves success in his cultivation in the future, he might be able to give back to their Cloud C sect on God C Star. It is just a pity that Chun Xian's situation is not like that. Next, the group did not continue chatting on the plaza. The sect master began to make arrangements for these 30 people, including Chun Xian. According to the jade slip submitted by senior brother Zhang, after the sect verifies it, They will be assigned to various peaks. As for Chun Xian, he was not assigned to any peak for the time being. After all, Chun Xian would not stay long. After the ascension ceremony on God Sea Star concludes, Chun Xian would have to leave again. Therefore, they only temporarily arranged an immortal cave for Chun Xian to reside in. There are still quite a few vacant immortal caves within the sect. Finally, Senior Brother Zhang took Chun Xian to the immortal cave that had been temporarily arranged for him, within a courtyard nestled between nameless peaks. Junior Brother Chun, you will stay here for the time being. If you have any matters, feel free to find me at any time. This is my sound transmission, Jade Slip. Senior Brother Zhang said after bringing Chun Xian, and he also left behind a sound transmission Jade Slip. Thank you, Senior Brother. Chun Xian accepted the Jade Slip and thanked him. Immediately after, Chun Xian asked, Senior Brother Zhang, when will our God Sea Star's Ascension ceremony take place? This junior brother's cultivation has reached the perfection of the Purple Mansion for some time now. If there is sufficient time, I intend to form my nascent soul here. Forming a nascent soul? This, if there are no accidents, there should be enough time. The Ascension ceremony on God Sea Star still requires several months. To be precise, 11 months. Senior Brother Zhang said. The Ascension ceremony for lower-tier main stars and medium-tier main stars are separated by exactly 1 year. Thank you, Senior Brother. Then this Junior Brother can rest assured. Chun Xian thanked him again. Junior Brother, the 9-layer heart demon tribulation is by no means an easy task. You must be careful when forming your nascent soul. Do not be impulsive. Senior Brother Zhang nodded, gave a few instructions, and spoke about the keys to the 9-layer heart demon tribulation. In a 9-layer heart demon tribulation, after passing each layer of the heart demon tribulation, a cultivator can actually choose whether or not to continue. If one continues and succeeds, that is naturally for the best, as the foundation and the formed nascent soul will become increasingly stronger. If one cannot pass, at the very least, the heart demon will backlash, cultivation will be damaged, and one will not be able to attempt forming a nascent soul again for a short time. At worst, one will simply perish with their Tao dissipating. To say it is dangerous is indeed very dangerous. But as long as one does not act impulsively and knows one's own capabilities, it will not be too dangerous. It is just that one might not be able to form the strongest nascent soul. Thank you, Senior Brother, for your guidance. Chun Xian knew Senior Brother Zhang meant well, so he expressed his thanks. Not long after, Senior Brother Zhang left this immortal cave. Following Senior Brother Zhang's departure, Chun Xian directly activated the grand array of the immortal cave and began to prepare to form his nascent soul. Chun Xian sat cross-legged in the quiet room, his expression calm. He had long since reached the perfection of the Purple Mansion, and now everything was ready. Chun Xian took out a 3-pattern spiritual item. Once the spiritual item was taken out, it immediately emitted a gentle yet majestic spiritual aura, with halos of light flowing around it, as if it possessed its own life. Chun Xian's spiritual power enveloped it, firmly binding it and placing it before him. Immediately after, he took out a jade bottle and poured out 3 mind-settling pills, each the size of a dragon's eye, with a warm luster, emitting an aura that calmed the mind. Looking at the spiritual item and the medicinal pill before him, Chun Xian did not hesitate any longer and swallowed the 3 mind-settling pills one by one. The medicinal pill melted upon entering his mouth, turning into a cool and solid force of divine thought that rapidly spread, stabilizing his sea of consciousness and constructing a sturdy barrier for his mind. Subsequently, he circulated his cultivation technique and began to draw upon the spiritual power within the 3-pattern spiritual item. The essence of the spiritual item, like a trickling warm current, was guided by his cultivation technique, slowly seeping into Chun Xian's limbs and bones, and finally gathering in his Dantian and Purple Mansion. Within the Purple Mansion, that vast, ocean-like spiritual power, under the stimulation of the spiritual item's power, began to undergo profound changes. In the center of the spiritual power, a tiny vortex gradually formed, emitting a strong suction force, as if it were about to condense and give birth to a brand new core of life. This was precisely the beginning of forming the nascent soul. As the spiritual power vortex intensified, Chen Xian's mind was also suddenly dragged into a realm that was ethereal yet incomparably real. The 9-layer heart demon tribulation, with each layer harder to pass than the last, is a trial where a cultivator must face their own obsessions, fears, and desires. A moment of carelessness could lead to losing control of one's mind and the collapse of one's Tao foundation. In the first layer of the heart demon tribulation, illusions emerged, attempting to stir up the anxiety in Chen Xian's heart regarding insufficient power and fear of powerful enemies. However, the medicinal power of the mind-settling pill was as stable as a mountain, and Chen Xian's Tao heart remained unmoved. These illusions were like flowers in a mirror or the moon in the water. As soon as they appeared, they were dispersed by the cool medicinal power, failing to stir up even the slightest ripple. Immediately following were the second and third layers of the heart demon tribulation. They changed their forms, sometimes turning into the difficulties and obstacles on the path of cultivation, and sometimes turning into various desire-filled illusions that tempt the human heart. But under the protection of the powerful medicinal effect of the 3 mind-settling pills, Chen Xian always maintained a clear mind, like a calm bystander, seeing through the falsehoods and pointing directly to his original heart. The medicinal effect of the mind-settling pill was indeed powerful. The 3 layers of the heart demon tribulation, although each had its own trials, were all easily passed by him, causing him no substantial trouble. Chen Xian could feel that with the passing of the first 3 layers of the heart demon tribulation, the spiritual power vortex in his dantian became more solid and active, and a vague, embryonic form of an infant was gestating within it. As long as he wished it, he could condense the nascent soul right now. However, he could only condense the worst 3rd-grade nascent soul, which naturally was not what he wanted. Having tried the first 3 layers of the heart demon tribulation, although he had the assistance of the mind-settling pills, he now had an understanding of the heart demon tribulation. He knew that the truly severe test only began from the 4th layer. The medicinal power of the mind-settling pills had already been consumed while resisting the first 3 tribulations. The subsequent heart demon tribulations would rely more on his own Tao heart and willpower. Fortunately, he had cultivated the cloud see heaven observation technique, so his divine sense was powerful. It was just that he did not know if his system, or perhaps his cultivation technique and Tao techniques, would be able to help in the upcoming heart demon tribulations. Chen Xian was looking forward to the cloud see heaven observation technique being able to help him. After all, the cloud see heaven observation technique was a type of divine sense cultivation technique. Chen Xian took a deep breath, his mind settled and focused, and he stopped overthinking. He began the 4th layer of the heart demon tribulation. Unlike the previous few layers of the heart demon tribulation, which felt like viewing flowers through mist and brushing past gently, once the 4th layer of the heart demon tribulation began and touched his mind, it suddenly stirred up monstrous waves. Chen Xian returned to Earth, back to the orphanage he was familiar with. Although Chen Xian was also an orphan in his past life, the director grandma of the orphanage in his past life was truly very good to every child in the orphanage. Returning to the orphanage and seeing those familiar figures, Chen Xian's emotions did indeed fluctuate.